Welcome back, everybody, to the Battle Hardened here in Orlando. I am Brody. This is Evan. We are here to chat about the top 8, and we're going to cast the quarterfinals for you guys. Oh, and there's Guy. There he went.
Oh, wherever he is.
He was behind us.
Uzuri and Dromai God.
It's true. It's true. Uzuri and Dromai God, he is, I think, our 3rd seed or something on Uzuri today.
Yeah,
so,
third seed.
Evan, how'd your day go today?
I played Dash.io. I went 4-3. Got a little unlucky. Had a cursed game, but it is what it is. I think Dash.io is a real deck. It's so much fun to play.
I agree with both of these statements. It is so much fun to play. It is, I think, the most fun I've had playing Flesh and Blood this year, and I feel like it has some weaknesses, but I agree that it is like a legit tournament pick.
Yeah, it definitely has some weaknesses. I feel like it's pretty variance heavy with just like how items are. But if you run hot, the deck is really, really good.
I played Bravo today. I lost to the Kano on stream at the end there and finished 9th, so the good news is that means I get to be here doing this.
Let's go.
I got my prize packs for the tournament, some Dusk Till Dawn packs here, and
Pulling some bangers.
we got some bangers. We got, first of all, the foil Banneret of Resilience, which I'm told is an absolute banger and is a top-tier card that I should hang on to.
Super broken. I say you can confirm that Bolton is broken, actually. You played against one in top 4 of Blitz yesterday.
That's true. That Bolton went crazy.
Dude, Nick is actually, like, he's goated at Bolton. He has, like, a blog. I think it's fabmains.com.
Nice.
He writes, like, an article about Bolton, like, probably, like, once every 3 weeks, I think.
That's awesome. I played against him in Blitz yesterday. I was playing Bravo in Blitz as well, and I was looking kind of ahead in the game, and then he did this insane, like, V, Raiden, go again, Celestial Cataclysm for 8, which became 9, into Valiant Thrust pop-off turn.
Yeah, I watched that. It was really nuts, honestly.
It was insane. It took every last, like, ounce of defense I had to... Technically not, because I got to keep 1 blue, but like if he had presented 1 more damage, I wouldn't have been able to keep any blue to swing hammer, and I probably would have lost the game.
Yeah.
So it was as close as it gets.
So I walked over there, and I looked at the life total. I didn't look at Nick's hand. I was like, yeah, he's dead. Brody got him. And then I think I took the trash out because I was working, and then I came back, and I looked again, and he was cooking you a little bit.
He was. It was a nuts turn. Okay, so... I led with the foil Banneret of Resilience because we gotta show the OP Bolton cards, but
cool.
the packs also gave me this Scowling Flesh Bag, which maybe is a sign that it's time to begin my Leviah journey. I've been thinking about it. I want to try it. But
it's the best legendary helmet in the game outside of Crown of Seeds, I think.
It's really good.
It's really broken.
It is quite sick. Every time this is if I'm playing basically any hero, every time this is across the table for me, I'm a bit scared.
Yeah, for sure.
Its ceiling is wild.
It's like Pulse Eisenloft React, like Voldem on a stick.
Yeah.
And it's better than Ice React because it's random instead of them choosing.
It's random instead of them choosing, and
I guess it's a little bit different. They get the card back in a turn, but
yeah, it's weird. It's on board though, so like, a lot of times you occasionally draw Pulse and it lines up with their go again turn where you really want to stop it, but the fact that it like sits in play and you know that it's going to be good when you use it.
It's terrifying when you're playing like Dash.io, honestly.
Any go again deck, even Bravo, like if you're trying to do Zealous Belting Anathos things into the Brute,
they'll get you.
It's hard. So while we're waiting for the top 8 here, I have 2 final unopened packs of Dusk Till Dawn, so why don't we just open them on stream for the fun of it. We'll do the ultimate suspense here, lead with the token. I actually don't know the order of these packs, so we might hit the rares like just in the middle.
I think they're in the back in this set.
Okay,
I might
great.
be wrong. It's foil and then rare.
All right, that'll be perfect.
Or rare plus whatever.
Oh, wait. Oh, that's not foil. The screen made me
I'll
think it was
wait till
foil.
you're done.
We're just going through comments here. I think I'm getting close to the foil, so I'll try to save the foil for last. These are the rares.
Hit the old pack trick. Hold on, I'll do it too.
Another Bolton card, V for Valor.
I'm not going to do it. I saw a cool card.
Deathly Whale. Okay. And then hopefully the next one is the foil. It should be.
Oh, that's
No, it's
broken.
not. It's not. Okay.
One more.
Oh, foil Angelic Wrath Blue. Woo!
Broken. All right, we got a Courage token. Kind of insane. I don't know what this card's name is. Break of Dawn.
Very nice. I have to know that card's.
Little Reprimand.
I know that
Soul
card's name
Cleaver?
because of my my Fable runs. I got to be on top of it for Fabble.
So I was gonna try to do the pack trick, so like the foil would be last, but I saw a cool card, so I decided not to.
That's fair. Can't argue with that.
Here's our foil. It's V for Valor. Yo, actually, I played against Nick with this card in red in his Molten deck on Talishar. It's kind of good.
I think that Yuki and Ellie were playing this in their lists last week that top
really?
did, the 20K and 10K, so yeah.
Oh! It's got two sides.
That's actually sick.
I know, great pool. Especially because like Prism is on up and up. New Luminaris got printed, or is getting printed.
Yeah, this is a great...
Are you excited for the new Luminaris?
I am very interested. I never got to play Prism 1 back in the day. It's my biggest regret in Flesh and Blood is that I never tried that hero. So I am quite excited for Prism to hopefully be like a top meta deck and I can play her a bit.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Honestly, I like how this new Prism works a lot more than the old Prism. I thought like the Monarch Prism, like the Monarch Aura Prism was really cool with all the yellow ones. But once you put the blue ones in there, it kind of just got to like
a little too much.
2 Spectral Auras every turn. That's it.
Yeah.
Took like the nuance out of the gameplay. No more Tome of Divinity. That was a big thing.
Yeah, it feels like hopefully that Prism now will play a little bit like the original one did, but like without the ability to get to just like spiral auras out of control and lock you out of the game.
More like just a regular like Herald beatdown deck, like people were playing like early Monarch.
Yeah.
We have Angels now.
This is true. I have played Prism 2 a little bit in Blitz and played against it a lot in Blitz testing, and it's a really interesting hero. I think
really good in Blitz, especially with the old Luminaris.
Yeah. I think it's quite hard to play. It seems.
I believe that. You have a lot of options with like when to flip Angels and stuff like that.
Lucas said that too. He was playing it in CC last week, and he said he thought it was like possibly the hardest deck in the format.
Yeah, I saw he beat Jacob Baugh on stream, right? Playing OG Dash.
I believe so, yeah, in like round 3 of the 20K or something like that. So looking at our top 8 for today, we've got 2 Kanos, 2 Dromais, 2 Uzuris, and a Dori, and an Azalea. So we haven't decided yet what match we're covering. Evan, what do you think would be the coolest here?
Honestly, I'm pretty interested in seeing that Dori play. It's Axe Dori, right? Or is it traditional Dawnblade?
I actually don't know.
I don't know either. I saw there was an Axe Dori on stream round 5, I think, right?
I am not positive.
I'm pretty sure it's round 5. I could be wrong.
It might be this one. Ethan, do you know what weapon the Dori's on? Is it Axe or Dawnblade?
This one is the Dawnblade Dori. This is the one where we had the Azalea versus Dorinthia match. That's probably like my favorite game I've ever watched. That's this Dorinthia that we're about to see.
Okay, nice. Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
I feel like Dori Uzuri will be a very back and forth, interesting game.
Yeah, I thought that would be a cool one. Something tells me chat is going to want us to watch one of the Kanos.
Kano game for
yeah.
sure.
So chat, put your votes in.
Put your votes in.
What do you want?
Dori if you're cool.
No matter what we want, at the end of the day, we always have to just go with chat, I think. Chat is in charge.
Pick a good one, guys.
But yeah, I remember hearing about that. Yanji told me after it was like the Azalea. So the Azalea played a Codex, which led the Dori to get back their 1 Nourishing Emptiness. They played it, dominated, got 5 Intellect, went into the next turn with a 6-card hand. Then Azalea proceeds to dominate Battering Bolt and make...
Oh, I heard about this.
Yeah, Dori just has to discard a handful of reactions. So it's like quite possible, depending on the order of the deck, that Nourishing Emptiness actually just was 5 dominate, on hit, lose a life. You just have an extra card you have to discard. That's pretty cool.
That's pretty unlucky. Battering Bolt's honestly a really crazy card into like the matchups that it's good into.
It is.
The on-hit text might be some of the best in the game.
Yeah, it's mostly like in the deck as a popper, but then incidentally has this like really powerful on-hit sometimes.
And
I think
like
it's
Dori and stuff.
Yeah. So looking at this bracket, we are of course impartial casters, but with that said, let's make our predictions for who we think will advance. Starting at the top, I think that Azalea Kano could reasonably go either way.
I think so too.
I'd like
to see the Azalea winning. They got a lot of like inertia effects, you know. It's pretty good in a Kano.
I'm gonna root for Julian here, even though I love Azalea and normally would root for that hero. I have been watching Julian play Kano at a lot of these events, and he finally converted. I believe this is his first Battle Hardened top 8 ever, and he's like a Kano expert and has been playing the deck for a while. So
in Dallas, I watched him play a game against Isaac Kroot, and I was watching from like Isaac's side, and I was like, yeah, there's no way he loses. Kano's at like 4, he's at like 36, and then he proceeded to have one of the best Kano turns I think I've ever seen and kill Isaac.
Yeah. Kano can always come back. That's kind of like, it's probably the deck that can come back from the farthest behind in the game, which is kind of cool. Wait, I don't know why I wrote an S there. This is not an S. This is supposed to be a D. Predictions. What do you think about Mara versus Justin? Dromai Kano.
Honestly, I'm rooting for Justin. I think his deck's pretty cool. I don't know. Do we know how much like AB Mara has? I know she normally runs like the Empress build. That's like not a lot of blues at all.
I think she's on 72 reds and 8 equipment.
Okay, okay.
So no resource cards, but she does have sand covers in the deck.
Sand cover's good.
Well, okay. I'm rooting for Mara in this match. Mara's my teammate, and it's sick to see her convert again. But it would also be sick to see Kano semifinals. I'll let you choose who we're moving forward in the official predictions. Who do you think will win?
I gotta go Justin, you know. I'm pretty sure he's from Georgia, but I've seen him at a lot of Florida events playing exclusively Kano, and he just always does well.
All right. So
I believe in him.
Justin and Julian, if they do both move on, that would be a Kano semifinals mirror, which would be pretty sick. On the other side of the bracket, we have both Uzuris going against Dromai and Dorinthia. I feel like, I don't know how the Uzuri-Dorinthia matchup goes, but we have to root for Dori, right?
I think so. As much as I want to root for Guy.
Same, yep.
I think Dori's just cool.
And finally, Uzuri versus Dromai. I think that it would be a sick underdog story if Uzuri were to win here, but I think that the Dromai is supposed to be quite favored in the matchup.
Yeah, I do think the Dromai is quite favored. I haven't seen Brandon's list, but I'm going to take a guess and assume that he's on a more traditional like big dragon list, which I feel like has a lot better of a time into Uzuri, but I think you're favored either way.
I think so too.
Tom has played a lot of Uzuri. I think he got 13th at US Nats this year with the deck, so I can see him pulling it out.
Maybe the kind of expert needed to bridge that gap in an unfavored matchup.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
All right, so let's say we have a Kano semifinals. Who wins?
Well, obviously Kano.
Oh, big brain. But which one?
So I know Justin is playing, I believe it was 9 Absorbent Aether is his spicy tech. What? We got to root on Dori. Sorry, Guy.
We both.
Last time you saw a Dori in top 8, bro?
Guy came over. Guy is upset at our prediction. He thinks it is incorrect. Guy, prove us wrong,
please.
Prove
us wrong, Guy. Let's see it.
All right. Guy is not happy with us. He hopefully this gives him motivation to go prove us wrong. Maybe on stream if you guys go and chat and vote for the Dori match.
Please, guys.
Yeah, you were mentioning Justin is he playing 9?
I believe it's 9 Absorbent Aether is what I heard. Which I feel like that just can't be good in the Kano mirror.
I imagine not. I don't know if either of them has like sideboard cards devoted to Kano.
I'm really curious. Do you have any experience in the Kano mirror?
I have played it some, not as much as I've played Kano Iyslander. I think it is very skill intensive and very bizarre.
I have never seen that matchup played out before. I played a little bit of Iyslander versus Kano, but I have no clue for the Kano mirror.
All right, so we'll just not even pick a player here because we don't know.
I believe in Julian though because I feel like the D-React card can't be good in the mirror match, right? Okay, well, based on that, we'll say maybe some of Julian's sideboard space is devoted to the mirror, and we'll say he advances to the finals. And finally...
Wait, also real quick, I just put the poll in chat. I think you've been talking about a poll. There wasn't a poll till right now, people, so go vote.
Okay, now go vote. Evan and I want you to vote for the Dorinthia match.
Please.
We think that you're going to vote for one of the Kano matches because that's what you tend to do, so prove us wrong, chat. On the other side of the semifinals, in our predictions here, we've got Dromai versus Dorinthia. What are we thinking?
I feel like that's just a... So Dori, I feel like, has this like inherent skill check thing where if you know how to play against Dori, you're going to have a much, much better time than like another deck. And obviously that's true for like every matchup, but I think with Dori specifically, like being able to like picture in your head like what they can do to you with their hand. Like you should be doing this normally, but I think a lot of times into Dorinthia, you're specifically thinking about what attack reactions they can play against you.
Yep.
So I think if Brandon has, or Tom, whoever wins, has like knowledge in the matchup, then I think they'll probably have a much better time.
So we think maybe Dori dies in the semis?
I think so. Especially, I feel like it's Dromai favorite, right?
I would imagine so, but I am not familiar with this matchup at all.
I'm not very familiar with this matchup either. I've heard you can just farm counters, but Dromai has this very cool thing going for it, and that it plays 6 Uriaks, which just fantastic into Dorinthia.
I would be curious to ask any of the 3 players in our top 8, Mara, Brandon, or Chris, if we get them in an interview at any point, how they feel about the matchup, because I really don't know. All right, so we had a Kano Dromai quarterfinals. We're saying we're going to end up with a Kano Dromai finals. Who takes the cake here?
Is the matchup Dromai favored?
I feel like it depends on how much prevention the Dromai has in their deck. Like if they have respites and sand covers and they can kind of find one of those and sit on it while also just sending the board in, it can get really hard for Kano. So I feel like it's just a race to see that card, and maybe then depends on the Dromai list quite a lot. I think I would give the edge to Dromai if I had to pick.
I think I would agree with you, but I've seen Julian pull off some crazy magic before. I feel like he could do it again.
I think so too. I think Julian's a really strong Kano player. I'm excited to see him play. If we don't get the Dori match on stream, I'd love to see Julian versus Iyslander.
Yeah. Say Carlos, another local player. He comes to Armory events here at the Haven all the time.
Hey, nice.
So happy to see him in top 8.
That's sick, yeah. This is kind of cool. I guess the stream probably knows at this point from seeing the background of the caster cam, but this Battle Hardened is being hosted like actually in an LGS.
Yeah, I actually work here.
Yeah, Evan was working last night in the Super Armory and then playing today, but it's a pretty sick vibe, like being in a store, but it being like such a high stakes event.
Yeah.
All right, I have taken a picture.
Oh, let's go. They love us.
Oh, chat, you're the best. All right, we're getting the
Goated.
Dorinthia match.
This is exciting.
We have Uzuri versus Dori coming up. Guy, who recently won the Calling Dallas playing Dromai. He's been on a tear with Dromai this year.
He's been on a tear with Dromai, but he's also been on a tear with Uzuri. You know, I believe he either got 12th or 13th at US Nats with Uzuri. So he's also like very well versed in that deck. I think at US Nats he went 8-0, I believe.
Nice.
I know we personally played like a million matches of Lexi into Uzuri. So
He's just proving himself over and over as an extremely formidable player on multiple heroes.
dude is cracked.
He was one of my 2 losses today in Swiss. I was playing Bravo and took the L to him in round 4, and he was playing very well. It looks like the players are getting ready. They're right here behind us. You can kind of see this is the top 8 table, and then at the very end, at the back there, we've got the stream setting up. So I think we'll be jumping in very quickly. How do you feel about the event and the meta?
Honestly, kind of what there's a lot more Bravo than I expected. Like, I figured people would be on Bravo. I didn't expect to be the most played deck, though, to be honest. Everything else is pretty even, though.
One thing I found really interesting was the lack of Dash Inventor Extraordinaire.
Yeah, I didn't see a lot. I feel like I didn't see a lot of ninjas either, to be honest. I think it was like 6 and 5 was the split for like Katsu and Fi, I think.
Yeah, and then we had 6 Dash IO, 5 Dash IE, all of those. Dash IO, I think, was kind of where I would expect it to be, but both Ninjas and OG Dash.
Yeah, I feel like OG Dash is a really great deck. I played it at Worlds. I think like this like just regular boost game plan is really fantastic right now.
I think it's cool how the other version of that deck is also viable, and we're like in a spot where
Like
2.
straight fatigue,
Yeah, like
lab dash as it's called now.
yeah. It's cool that both are doing well at the same time, and like when you sit across from a Dash, even at top tables, you don't really know what they are up to if you haven't seen them play yet that day.
Yeah, it's really interesting that they're like polar opposites almost.
Yeah, it's cool. What are people saying in chat here? I think people are talking about the matchup. Super depends on the Dori and the Dromai. Somebody says Dromai is insanely favored against Kano.
I don't know about insanely favored. I can see like slightly though.
We have a lot of Dori support in chat, rooting for Dori. People want to see the warrior go all the
I
way.
think Dori is it's a fan favorite. I think that's a lot of people's like first heroes. So
Yeah. Have we seen, how many Battle Hardened top 8s have we seen Dorinthia in before? I know Josh Lau made the top 8 of Battle Hardened Charlotte at the start of the year in March.
I'm trying to think of this girl's name. I think it's Arya something.
Arya Howe.
Yeah, Arya Howe made top 4 out of Battle Hardened with Dorinthia previously. I can't tell you which one, but
Now that you say that, I believe it was Battle Hardened Dallas Fort Worth in October last year. I remember. I think Ariel ended up losing to Briar in the semis, but yeah.
Was that the one that Peter won with Phi?
Mm-hmm. With his combo Phi deck, yeah. That was like kind of still in the time period when Phi decks were. Phi was a little more unexplored, and the best deck list wasn't really settled on yet. And like Dan had just gotten second at Nats with Phi, and then Peter won the Battle Hardened with like a pretty different list.
Yeah.
It was interesting. So we've got players setting up, Ethan getting ready. We are very close to bringing you the quarterfinals here. We've got only 5 hero top 8 this time, so a little less diverse.
Yeah, a little less diverse, but I don't know. If you look at like the total hero spread, like I think it was very even.
Yeah, there was no one deck that like dominated Swiss or dominated the overall meta share rather.
Say, I think a lot of the reason we still only see like 5 heroes in the top 8 is like a lot of decks are like weak to Kano. Like they just don't have with Iyslander rotating, they just don't have like the AB or the slots to like play into Kano. I know Guy is on like 1 million reds, and I believe no AB is what he told me. So that's probably why there's 2 Kanos in top 8.
Yeah. It takes me back to like Pro Tour 1 era when at that event 2 Kanos made the top 8 of the Pro Tour, and then now.
How many people played Kano at that event? Like 5?
At Pro Tour?
Yeah.
I don't know how many, but it wasn't a lot. It was like a relatively small percent of the field, and then I think Hayden Dale made top 16, and 2 of them converting to top 8. It did extremely well.
Really broken, honestly.
What'd you say?
Said really broken, honestly.
Apparently so.
That was like Kano's first big finish, too.
At Pro Tour? Yeah, I think so. And then now Pete Budensek made the top 8 of the 20K last week, and we have 2 Kanos here. So Kano's showing up, getting results, kind of proving that you need to respect him and bring heroes, and also just like bring sideboard slots that
put AB in your deck.
Yeah.
If you don't have it already, if you are going to put AB in your deck, learn how to play against Kano as well.
That's another thing. I feel like Kano, despite being around for basically the game's whole history, is a deck that some people don't get as many reps into because he's not as popular. He's a little bit harder to pick up and learn, so just not as played, especially in like more casual local scenes. So people go against Kano and they don't really know what to expect. They're not sure when to use their Arcane Barrier and stuff, and I think it kind of has that surprise factor element.
Yeah, with Kano, I feel like not a lot of people play Kano like casually. It's like they're either like they never touched it or they're like all in, you know?
Yeah, it feels like every Kano I play tends to be like a Kano main.
Yeah, 100%.
So I think we are ready to begin here. Going to dive into the quarters. We've got Guy on Uzuri versus the Dorinthia player whose name is now escaping me, but I will find it.
Oh, Chris Martin is his name.
Chris Martin, indeed. Oh, yeah. I've been talking to this guy. He looks a lot like Bagel TCG, for anyone knows. Noah from this area. I think Noah doesn't live here anymore.
He doesn't live here anymore. He used to live in Jacksonville. I believe he moved to the Netherlands now.
Yeah. But Chris seems to be Noah's doppelganger, and he said like 3 times this weekend or something he's been mistaken for Noah. So making it all the way with Dori. Very nice run in the Swiss. Players are sideboarding here. Because we have a stream going all day, they're going to get each other's deck list to look over. You see Guy reviewing the Dori deck list right there. This is just to ensure that if someone has played on stream and their opponent hasn't, there's no unfair advantage because one person could go back and like watch your stream game and learn all the cards in your deck.
I feel like in this matchup, like having deck list info is like really important. You can know like how many of each card they have, especially when you're playing such a grindy deck like Uzuri.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Do you think the matchup will go quite long?
I do.
I could definitely see that. I wonder if
I think another big thing that we haven't really been thinking about is like what knives or what daggers do you think he's gonna be running?
I wonder what all he has in his list, do you know?
I don't know. I feel like he'd probably want to run like Orbido class and like Nerve Scalpel probably. That seems like the right loadout.
Yeah, he played Nerve Scalpel and Bite into me earlier. It looks like those are the 2 that he has on the table here.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's probably all he has. I think from talking to him earlier, I'm like 90% sure he's only got like 6 sideboard options, maybe 7. I can't remember.
Gotcha.
But he told me he was on like 72, 73 cards.
We'll see if we can try to grab the player's deck list soon and confirm that. I think they are on our. Oh, here we go.
Oh,
Thank you so much.
fantastic. We got the deck list.
So it looks like in Gee's weapon slot, we have, just the Spider's Bite and the Nerve Scalpel. No other options. And looks like a pretty quote-unquote red line Uzuri list, aggressive. He's got only one looking for a scrap, one nimble strike.
Inertia Trap's pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's one that I don't think we've seen before in published deck lists.
What is the text on Inertia Trap?
So it's a 0 for 3 red defense reaction that says when this defends an attack with power greater than its base, you give your opponent inertia.
That's pretty good. Looking at this Dori list, nothing too crazy. Oh, he's on Valiant Dynamo in the list. That's really interesting.
That is interesting. Does he have refraction bolters as well?
He does have refraction bolters as well. He's on 1 AB. Honestly, looks like a pretty standard Dori list. Only one route. We see one Iron Song Pride.
How many looking for a scrap are typical in Uzuri? He's only on one here.
So from what I've seen, people have fallen back from playing like 3, and now they're on usually like I've seen a lot of lists with one looking for scrap and one nimble strike.
Mm-hmm. That's what Gee's got here. He's got one battle you got in the yellow slot, kind of in the sideboard. Only 6 targets, I guess, for the looking for a scrap in 3 blue infect and 3 blue isolate.
You also have the knives too.
That is a really good point. You can flick your knives at people and then banish them away.
You guys drive here or fly?
And then looking at the Dorinthia deck list, it looks pretty much just like a normal Dawnblade list. A lot of attack reactions. The
3 CNC, 1 nourishing.
CNC, I guess, is one of the like question mark slots in the deck. Like not every Dori plays it, but in some matchups, I think it can go a long way.
Yeah, it's definitely good at a lot of spots. Like being able to go like swing Sword of Go Again into a CNC is really nice a lot of the time.
Yeah,
Especially because like they commit cards to blocking the Dawnblade. You still give it Go Again.
yeah. It feels
You
like
take their arsenal.
with Dorinthia, it feels like a really easy way to trick people. Like they're worried about all the ways you could swing your sword again and what you can do, and you just hit them with a CNC. Looking at the defense reactions in Chris's deck, we have 2 red shunts, 2 sink belows. What do you think? How big of a deal do you think these defense reactions will be in the Uzuri matchup?
So I think they're a pretty big deal. Having no Fates, I feel like is a little bit rough.
Mm-hmm.
But I honestly think he's at a pretty like decent advantage just with like the deck doesn't really spend that many cards in deck, and you just hit big with a weapon.
Yeah, makes sense.
I feel like it's a good strat into Uzuri.
He does have 1 red Oasis in the sideboard. I have to imagine this is some Kano respect, but do you think we'll see it brought in versus the Uzuri?
I think if we're seeing the Tunic brought in, which I feel like you probably should run Tunic if you have the shunts in deck, then I might as well bring in the Oasis Respite at that point.
Yeah. So definitely presenting Dawnblade, Braveforge Bracers, and Crown of Providence, and then the question marks are
And
Courage
we
versus
do see
Tunic.
the Tunic flipped up.
Oh, they're starting. Yep,
Yeah,
that
starting.
is. Both players are on Tunic here. We've got the fist bump to lead it off, and I believe Gee is the higher seed, so he'll get to choose who goes first. What do you think he's going to choose?
I would imagine this is probably a hard go second. This is a pretty like normal mid-range Flesh and Blood matchup, and I think in matchups like that, going second, you get a really big advantage. Starting with tempo is really nice.
That sounds right to me. So likely we'll see Chris take up the Tunic, and there it is.
Yep.
Perfectly called.
Especially with Uzuri, like you're a deck that doesn't oftentimes use like all your cards in hand, so you just go like dagger into attack swap arsenal card. Pretty solid.
Yep. Starting from Chris's side here, it looks like we've got Command and Conquer in hand, as well as a blue Precision Press, Run Through, and Glistening. So
Steelblade is a very cool card.
it is a good one. It doesn't look like there's much way to force damage through in this hand, so he's just going to lead off with a swing of the Downblade, see how Gee blocks. We know that there are no attack reactions in the hand, but
Does Gee know?
Gee has to think about all the possibilities here. There's always the chance of something like a glint into Twinning Blade, so you can't just dump your full hand here. Blocking with 2 cards seems pretty reasonable to me.
Do you think he's on the full 3 Twinning Blade in this matchup?
I don't know. I am no Dori expert. I would imagine all 3 are in the deck, but I'll be curious to see as we get deeper into the game. There is 1 red route in the deck. Only 1, so it's not an extremely high chance to draw it on turn 0, but that's one of the main blowouts here. If Gee blocks 6 and then Chris just fires off a route, he takes a full 3 damage.
I do think really like you want to leave the route in deck as a singing Steelblade target.
That makes
'Cause,
sense.
Eventually I'm sure he's going to set up for a turn where he's going to like guaranteed probably push some damage through with some combination of like singing Steelblade into route or into overpower.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Going to Gee's side, we're leading off with a Spider's Bite attack, pitching a blue Infect, and
Actually has text this turn because of the CNC in Chris's hand.
yeah, that is rare in this matchup.
I know, I was not expecting it.
No Orbeetle class on the sideboard definitely hurts a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like he can get by for sure with just the Nerve Scalpel. It does hit him.
That's true. Nerve Scalpel is very nice. I am kind of surprised to see Gee lead Spider's Bite instead of Scalpel, unless he's planning to also swing the Scalpel this turn. What do you think about that?
I'm also kind of surprised.
That was a nice block with the Isolate turn 0 to get it in there for the looking for a scrap. You love to see that. We are blocking 3 on the scrap, and then this E-Strike is coming in for
Draw a
5.
card.
Yeah.
One card of 5 is broken. It's good value.
It's very good. It is 1 above rate.
Just eating the 5. Going to a 3-card hand. We'll probably see, is that Dawnblade? Dawnblade of Go again and into CNC?
Yeah, so spending a full card with the hit and run here just to give it Go again. And then from Gee's side, I cannot tell what we have in Gee's hand there, but we know that Chris's arsenal is, I believe, the Glistening.
See a yellow shred. I think that's a CNC. He's got those beautiful ones. There's 2 red Isolate, I think.
I think maybe that's maybe Infects.
One of those 0 for 3 stealth cards.
Yeah, something. So we blocked with the Sharpened Steel, so this means that the last card in Chris's hand rather is still that Command and Conquer. So he's looking to maybe
We see an overblock. That's huge for Chris.
That is exactly what Chris wants here, and then fires off the CNC. Gee, if he's left with any 2 blocks, cannot cleanly cover this up with cards. Maybe will donate the Crown of Providence or use his armor to help.
I really like this play pattern, even though it's like a 3-card 9, because like a lot of the times I feel like against Dori, like I said, people overblock, and then you, against Dori, you're very incentivized to arsenal defense reactions.
Yeah.
So it really is just kind of a gotcha play.
It's very nice. I'm a big fan of the CNC. It looks like...
Ooh, we see this Sigil out of Arsenal.
That is a really nice counter to this Command and Conquer.
That is probably best case scenario here, honestly.
Absolutely. So just base tanking the 6, but no on hit after playing that Sigil out. We're back to Gee's turn with just a 2-card hand.
See an Infect.
It's the Uzuri Classic. I believe we know that his other card in hand is... Oh, maybe he blocked the other stealth cards. I actually don't know what his other card is. This is the Classic. You probably want to give at least 1 card here so Gee can't just pass and make you take a Blood Rot. But if you block with 2 cards, you're kind of giving up free value because he can just park that other one in Arsenal. And it's a rough situation whether you do or don't block.
We're just going to see a CNC here. I really wonder if... what Chris is trying to go for here, game plan wise. Whether he's trying to fatigue or not.
Yeah, I'm really curious. I have no idea how this matchup normally plays out. Because of the Tunic counter here, we're able to fire off the Glistening, present a pretty threatening on-hit on the Dawnblade, and then once again hide that Command and Conquer in hand. Gee,
Fate Foreseen.
Not blocking with 2 cards this time, so not going to
get... Baller Gee out here with all the beautiful cards.
Same thing with his Dromai deck. He's always got the nicest versions of everything. It's cool to see.
I recently got a bunch of Marble Dragons, and I messaged Gee, and I was like, teach me how to play this deck, and he told me I'm already better than most Dromai players because I got all my Dragons foil.
Nice, yeah. Coming in for 6, threatening that Arsenal. Looks like it's not a Sigil.
Another Sigil? Probably not.
I don't think so. Gee has 2 in his list. That'd be really hilarious if we started the game with 2 CNCs into 2 Sigils. Try to take a peek at his hand here. It looks like he's got... Is that another Fate Foreseen in the front? I think he does have another D-React in hand, so the only way to not go minus here is to block out the CNC, clear out the Arsenal, and park that Fate in there, unless he wants to give up the Crown to help filter his hand. It might be too awkward of a spot otherwise. Yeah. I'm not sure what his Arsenal card is.
He may not even be able to, easily Crown here because he doesn't have, a way to play his 4 cards out.
Yeah, I don't know what he's working with, but having a D-React in hand when you're getting CNC'd like this usually means it could be a bit of a clunker.
Yeah. Feels bad for sure. I think this is honestly a pretty good start for Chris.
I think so too. Yep, so we're just donating that Crown of Providence, sinking the Arsenal away, and keeping the rest of our hand. I do believe he has a Favor Scene in hand, so likely looking to play out a 3-card hand and then stick that in Arsenal. Oh, I think he drew a Sync off the top.
Ooh,
I can't
that might be a little rough.
quite make out what these cards are, but that would be unfortunate if he's holding 2 D-Reacts here when faced with a CNC.
On the bright side, he's coming up on a Tunic turn here, so worst comes to worst, he can go like Tunic, pitch a red, swing dagger into play an attack, swap it out.
Yep, that's true. It looks like he has definitely some. I think that's a Ravenous Rabble in hand. Oh, he's playing out a
Hard cast, Surgical Extraction.
pitching Codex.
I don't think he has any good hits for or any good plays for the Codex right now, so probably his best thing he's working with.
It is.
So Guy plays a number of shreds here, so we could see some shred action going on.
Yeah, Chris is just giving the 4 block, but it seems reasonably likely that is a shred. So
There's 8 in the list.
it's going to be 3 damage plus a card of Guy's choice out of Chris's hand. That is a great
We see a
trade-off.
Delayed Shunt. But this might as well be another card out of his hand.
That's true. It is pretty much break even here, but at least he gets to select what he's discarding and doesn't reveal the information to Guy. Also keeps singing in the deck. Strong card.
Yeah, very good card late game, especially when they have to block.
Tunic back to 1 on Chris's side. Beginning turn number 4 here, and he's just going to go to Arsenal.
I believe that was a Spoils Vor going into the Arsenal.
That is a good one to hopefully start off a nice big 5-card hand next turn. Back to Guy's side, he is forced to use whatever his 5-card hand is here.
See, a Ravenous Rabble. Yeah, that's a broken Dorinthia hand.
What's the hand? Steel Blade and those are some good cards in there. Oh, Shunt is a little awkward
Shunt's
here.
a little awkward for sure. This may be a Crown of Providence angle.
Yeah, Shunt is super nice off of Tunic, but when you have to pitch a card to it, it's like on rate at best if you can get it to block a 6. But honestly, against Uzuri, where sometimes they're going to go like isolate swap, it can be really nice.
Yeah, it's really strong. I really like him running Tunic.
Once again, swinging the Spider's Bite instead of the Scalpel. 2 CNCs are down. We know the only attack action cards remaining in Chris's deck are 1 more CNC, 1 more Nourishing Emptiness. So this is a really interesting choice to me. I'd be curious to ask Guy later what his thinking is.
There are no blanks. I'll take 1, go to 27.
Again, if he's planning to swing the Scalpel later in the turn, that would
That's a
explain it.
Tunic, so we are going to see the Scalpel here.
There it goes.
I will declare no blocks to nerf Scalpel. No reactions. I'll go to 26.
So the Steel Blade Shunt does now only block 5 on this turn. Chris has 3 non-attack actions that all will block normally, thankfully.
See a E-Strike for 7.
7. Thank you.
I think, if at all possible, Chris probably wants to just get the Steel Blade Shunt into his arsenal and wait to use it once his Tunic's on 3 later on.
Yeah, for sure. I think coming in for Steel Blade's what, +3?
Block 2.
Steel Blade, I believe, is +2 to the weapon for the turn.
And then Spoils is also +2 to the weapon for the turn.
I think Spoils
Or it's
just
only on the
gives-
first stack, only the first stack.
Yeah, exactly. And then
But-
also gives it go again.
He'll come in for 8 Dominate here.
My turn.
It's going to be a big one.
It will be a big one, especially Uzuri does not have the most armor. She's only got Crown, which she doesn't even have right now, plus the Flick Knives and the Black Tech Whisperers.
We do know that Guy's arsenal, if I saw it correctly last turn, is a defense reaction, which could be really nice in this turn.
Yeah, that'll definitely be really nice in this turn.
I missed my Tunic counter. That's too late. Apologize.
Chris, unfortunately, missing that counter.
Thank you very much.
There's a lot. Oh, he's giving it back
good
to
guy,
him.
Guy, giving him the Tunic counter.
Appreciate it. This is going to be coming in for 8. Dominate.
Even at the highest level, playing for stakes here, players are being friendly, saying, take your Tunic back. Nothing's happened. No info's revealed. 8 Dominate. He's going to take a peek at the graveyard. I believe he has a Fate Foreseen in his arsenal. So Black Tech plus 1 card from hand paired with that Fate will be enough to cover this up. But he has to always think, we know the card in Chris's hand is a Steel Blade Shunt. He doesn't know that. It could be an Iron Song response. Are there any other attack reactions that would work in this case?
That costs 0. I don't believe so. I think they...
You can always play Glint to filter, but that's not anything special.
I think Iron Song is the only one. I believe in his list we saw, I think it was 3 red and 1 blue maybe?
Reactions to me. I have no reactions. Reactions to
That
you.
sounds about right to me. There it is, covering all 8.
No. All right. That is covering 8 to 8. I'll declare no more reactions.
So Chris is just going to park that D-React in Arsenal, and we are back over to Guy's turn.
Honestly, not the worst case scenario. Like, Shunt, I think, is pretty solid into the Uzuri deck. It lines up really well what she's trying to do.
I think so, too. I think as long as his Arsenal can stay kind of... Oh, that's
Oh.
Nimblism Codex. As
That's
long as he
big.
can keep that Shunt just safely there until his tunic goes to 3 next turn. This is going to line up really nicely for him.
Just a big infect.
Yeah.
This is kind of another nice Dori hand, too.
Codex is very strong here. I mean, just straight up being present 3 damage with an infect, and then plus you get an arsenal. The frailty token is very likely to be worth at least 1 against Dorinthia.
Easy heal 1.
Very nice. I guess he doesn't have a Leave No Witnesses in his yard yet, otherwise he likely would be fetching that here.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
So frailty in play. We're back over to Chris's turn with a tunic going to 3. He's just going to hit with that Dawnblade. There's that red Iron Song response we were talking about. Coming in for a small 2 here. Let's see if Guy is able to use his 5-card hand or if he's going to have to give a card to block. Like you mentioned, Uzuri is not fantastic at playing large 5-card hands, so it's possible that Guy will end up blocking here if he's not able to go wide enough.
Yeah, for 2 damage, though, I feel like it's almost worth just to eat it, because you'll probably be able to swing both daggers on a full 4-card hand.
Most likely, yeah.
No blocks. Take 2.
He's indeed taking it. Guy has a 10-life lead here. The Dori player does still have their Crown of Providence in play, so 1 more total armor than Guy and some utility with the sync. We also have this Tunic Shunt coming up, which should be a nice little swing.
Nimble Strike. Coming in for 5. Go again.
Nice, nice. I would say Guy does seem firmly slightly ahead here.
Yeah, for sure. I would agree with that statement. You know, I'm not counting Chris out, though. He does have, like, the best counter to any good on-hit effects here.
Yeah, we're only about not even halfway through the life totals yet. Chris is just now dropping down to 19. From Guy's side, we've got this one. I'm okay blocking 6 on this one because there are 2 cards in Guy's hand, and no matter what,
I actually like this play because I feel like it's a shred is somewhat telegraphed.
I'll block 6. Reaction steal.
Yeah, it's an interesting spot because you have the Steel Blade Shot in Arsenal. I think there are multiple reasonable approaches. In general, when Uzuri is holding 2 cards in their hand like that, I think it becomes a lot more reasonable to just commit 6 to block, because if they shred you once, you're fine, you're break even. If they switch with Uzuri, you're still break even. When they only have 1 card in hand, it's risky to give 2 cards on block, because if they just arsenal it, then you've basically just donated them an extra card that didn't block anything. Chris in that spot ended up over blocking by 3 after all was said and done.
We have an update from one of the top 8 games. Mara beat Justin Graham. That was Dromai versus Kano. So
No
Nice.
Kano
So
mirror today.
Our official prediction has already fallen short. Our bracket was wrong, but that means Mara moves on. Congratulations, Mara. Mara will be awaiting, I believe, the winner of Kano
Kano versus Azalea.
in semis. Yeah.
I have no reactions.
So 5 on the Dawnblade here.
Ooh, we see the broken inertia trap.
Very nice. No effect here, but I mean it is covering up Dawnblade.
Yeah, I feel that card is really fantastic into Dorinthia.
Yeah, I could see some spots where it completely blows her out. And if nothing else, it just is a defense reaction, which is very nice.
I think you're definitely okay with having more D-react cards in your deck into Dorinthia.
2 cards in hand.
He is swinging one of his many isolates with 2 in hand. So kind of a face-up Uzuri flip likely coming after this. We see an energy potion on Chris's side. That's an interesting inclusion for the matchup.
I have no reactions.
I wonder how many cards he presented.
Yeah, maybe he's like full fat decking here.
Reactions.
It no longer has Dominate, so Chris is just going to use that Sink Below to cover up 3 damage plus the on-hit. Makes a lot of sense to me. And then over to his turn, we'll have to see.
I wonder if he sinks here.
Yeah, I would not be surprised by a Sink here. I don't think either of these cards seems particularly appealing to stick in your arsenal. The Shunt is okay.
Yeah.
Your Tunic's not on 3 yet.
You just have the crown up, so once it does get to 3, you'll be able to like block 6 with it. But I guess you're playing the shunt at Arsenal. You don't really need to block 6, probably.
I will sync this.
Yeah, it looks like he's just
Sinking
sinking
the
away.
E-pot.
That makes sense to me. I could see it.
Oh.
He drew another E-pot. Okay, beautiful.
Seize bug.
I'll go Tunic 2.
I am very curious to see what play he goes for here. He could just play E-pot, could just swing sword. Just swinging in for 3. So it's interesting. Chris is basically saying here, I'm not a deck where 2 resources are going to scale up later. Like Kano, for example, Energy Potion gives you 2 resources, but like that can convert to 10 damage or more.
It's absurd.
And Chris is just saying, I would rather just have 3 damage than 2 resources. My deck can scale a little bit, but not enough to make it worth going minus to put this potion in play.
Yeah, I think definitely in the situation he's currently at, there's a 12 life difference, I don't think you can really take the time to play out a E-pot instead of swinging Dawnblade.
That's an Oasis off the top, which is really interesting since he does have this blue shot in Arsenal. He could pitch a card to play both of them. It seems like he's in a pretty clunky spot if he does not do that, unless he wants to give up his crown, because Tunic's not on 3, so you can't efficiently play either one by themselves.
I will declare.
But if you play 2 off of 1 pitch card, it feels less bad for sure.
Absolutely. Guy is pitching 2 yellow shreds to send 2 daggers, and then that's a
Ravenous
rabble. What do you think his last card is? It could be another Codex.
Yeah, I feel like this is such an unlucky scenario for Chris. This was, I think, really not what he wanted to see here.
1 card in hand.
I think it feels bad to waste like instant speed reaction or instant speed / reaction on this Ravenous Rabble. You know, you will gain a life though, which is nice.
Yeah, it feels... So if we think the last card is a Codex, then maybe he doesn't do it at all, and he just waits because he's likely going to Death Touch him. And then he can spend his Shunt plus Respite to cover up the Death Touch. It depends how much of his hand he wants to block with, though. He's using the Respite here. We have to remember that the Shunt is only blocking for 3, but that is enough to cover up... Oh, Guy's just ending turn. Moving to Arsenal.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty ideal scenario for Chris. Well, his Tunic will go up to 3, the Shunt and Arsenal is going to be online, and they're just going to throw a CNC out.
This is the 3rd CNC coming in, so Guy will know after this that he doesn't have to worry about these anymore.
Yeah, we never saw any sweet nourishing value this game, unfortunately.
This is true. I wonder, do you think he even brings it in the matchups where he has CNC?
Probably not.
It's quite possible it's just sitting in the sideboard, and this is the last attack action we will see. Which I wonder if that will change Guy's bite and scalpel heuristics at all. I don't think so. I think every turn he swung bite, except for that first one, he has followed it with a nerve scalpel, which makes sense to me.
2.
So Guy giving 2 cards on the block.
That's a lot of Warriors Valors.
That is a lot of Warriors Valors. Once again,
actually-
isolate with 2 cards in hand. So
This looks like a good
Action steal.
pivot turn for him.
Reaction.
He can Shunt in response here. And then I believe he has Iron Song, Blue, and another Warrior's Valor in hand. So as long as there's no D-React and he's Arsenal after this, I think he's cooking up.
Yes, it was.
yeah, this seems like what you want to see. He is currently down 13 life, so needs a bit of a swing to get him back in the game, but it is not lost by any means.
I will move to win. Sounds good.
I say Dori can definitely do it. She's one of the only heroes in the game that I feel like really snowballs,
I'll put Tunic on 1. Beginning my
especially getting counters.
game actions.
For sure, yeah.
I'd rather you look.
Do we know anything about what is in Guy's arsenal? On the turn that he just played, did he play out of arsenal or did he play entirely from hand? I think he played the isolate from arsenal.
I think he played the Isolate from Arsenal.
So his turn on the previous hand was just, or his hand on the previous turn rather was Rabble, 2 yellow shreds, and a yellow isolate. So it's just a bit clunk. And then he parked the yellow isolate and then switched into CNC, and we do not know what his new arsenal is here, so certainly could be a D-React.
Iron Song determination.
See him going for it.
Here we go.
Mana.
I'd like to see this connect. I want to see Chris get back into this game a little bit.
I do want to see this
Go
connect.
again on hit.
Let's see some sick Dawnblade counters here. He probably won't get a counter. Like, he's only going to swing for 4.
So-
But he'll get a hit through, I think.
Hypothetical situation. Let's say you're Guy here and you do not have a D-React in your arsenal, but you draw one in your hand, like for example just a Sink Below. Do you think it's possible you donate all of your armor, including... Oh, never mind. Black Tech is
Yeah,
used.
it's got a -1 counter.
Ah,
I feel like with the life lead that he's already at, though, like he can guarantee no counter on the Dawnblade with like the Flick Knives plus a 3 block.
Coming again for 4 dominate counter on hit.
so it looks like the Dawnblade is connecting here. Guy is thinking still.
That is another Fate. Yep.
Yeah, it connected on the first one, and then connected for 4 on the first one, and then he D-react the second swing for 4.
Nice. Okay, so at least we got the swing again value. I was coming up with a whole hypothetical situation, and then I saw that shiny little red thing on the Black Tech and realized it was not even possible. Moving back to Guy's turn, we got 4 Warrior 3 blocks on Chris's side, and
Ravenous Rabble.
yeah, Rabble for 4.
A block 3.
What do you think you're looking to create here as Chris? You're still down a lot of life. You need to come back into this game. What kind of thing needs to happen for him to turn the tables?
Close the combat chain.
So I feel like we need to see like so he's got a Sharpened Steel in hand. It really depends on what he's gonna throw at him here.
Codex of Frailty. I have an open
That's unfortunate for sure.
Yeah,
I think
that
this
is.
turn we're probably just seeing some blocks.
This is really not what Chris wants to see. He's going to be down to 2 blocking cards in hand, so if he wants to stop the Death Touch on hit, he has to give his final Racer's Armor and his crown. That is very not ideal.
Did he get knifed?
I don't believe he got knifed, but he blocked 1 card on the Rabble.
Mm.
He is choosing to hang on to the CNC.
Oh, it's for 9.
Yeah, we had a Nimblism fired off.
And I will decline.
Yep,
Yeah,
so
that's
just
rough.
donating that armor. This is looking pretty grim right now from the Dorinthia side. You really need to find a big turn where you can get a couple counters and start snowballing before your life total falls too low to ever keep a big hand. We have CNC and Arsenal right now. Guy knows about it, so he can make sure that he doesn't fall for like the tricky Dawnblade CNC plays.
On the bright side for Guy, like he's got such a big life lead. It'd be really hard for I think the game to go on long enough for a Dawnblade snowball at this point.
I think so too. I think Chris would need a little bit of a miracle here. 5 go again. This is not the most efficient play, but gets the job done when you have a big hand like this.
Say honestly, when you're playing Uzuri, I feel like seeing a hand like this when your opponent does nothing to you is probably like the best case scenario.
Just like all your cards attack for some amount. You don't have to swing daggers.
Yep.
Blue Isolate coming in. This time we do not have a D-React in Arsenal to cover it up, so just hoping that that Uzuri ability is nothing too threatening.
No reaction to Uzuri.
Unfortunately, it is a shakedown.
I really love Shakedown.
No reaction to shake.
I really love seeing what people name as Shakedown against these like I guess more niche heroes. I feel like not a lot of people play Dori, so like what color do you name?
Yeah, it's a really interesting puzzle to think about. I think that in this spot, I don't think I would ever name yellow here, but I think you could make an argument for red or blue.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Do you have any more reactions?
I think you probably name Blue because you know he has a CNC in Arsenal.
That would make sense to me. You kind of force him to just swing the Dawnblade with 1 card. I think that it works to Guy's advantage to keep that CNC there because it feels like Chris's only avenue back into the game is setting up some big 5-card hand that like works entirely trying to send big Dawnblades and get counters. So the longer you keep CNC trapped there, the longer Chris can't send a big turn like that.
See a broken shred. Guy naming red.
He did name red, so we'll get to clear this Arsenal out and threaten. Guy has no Arsenal. CNC will be textless if he chooses to swing it here. He's just going to send the Dawnblade.
Yeah, it feels rough to get back into this game. The fatigue angle, though, perhaps.
It's always a
I will say, it's
possibility.
hard to fatigue this Uzuri deck. Like, it won't deal a lot of damage in a turn, but it'll stop you from blocking.
Yeah, you have a lot of reactions. The Nerve Scalpel will help with that. Guy is letting this hit, so Chris gets to swing for an additional 4 damage here. That's kind of big.
See him getting in there, trying a little pivot, use those refraction bolters before it's too late. Make sure you get the guaranteed value out of him.
We have an update, by the way. The other Kano has beaten Carlos, so that was the Kano versus Azalea. So Julian sniffing over Carlos. As Kano remains undefeated.
That one is bittersweet for me because I'm a big Azalea fan, but I'm also a big Julian fan. Congrats to him moving on to face Mara in the semifinals. I think that would be a sick game to cover next.
Yeah, that'd be a really nice one.
Guy's considering his blocks on the 4 here. He still knows that the Arsenal is CNC. I wonder if Guy thought Chris would use the bolters and swing the CNC here, since he made his decision and is now thinking again. Maybe that was his prediction for the turn.
Yeah, I feel like if you're Guy, you had to expect this though. Like, I think really the only way he gets back in this game is if he's able to start accumulating value on the Dawnblade.
Yeah, I do think the play makes sense from Chris's side. Also, just from a numbers perspective, on board you have the ability to swing sword for 4. Spending your Arsenal to turn that into 6 is like spending your card for 2. That's not ideal.
Not good math.
Definitely don't want to be giving up any free value here when you're this behind.
Yeah, for sure.
We're definitely seeing the power of Codex in this game. Like most games it's played, it's been very good. I believe Guy has fired off 2 Codexes now, and both of them have been basically just 1 for 2s.
Codex is a bonkers card. It is
I have no reaction.
absolutely the best.
It's very strong.
We see the counter going through.
First counter, let's go!
Let's go!
Applause for first counter. Back over to Guy's side. He does still have a 14 life lead here, so we are just hoping for miracles for the Dorinthia player.
All right, this is screaming shred, I think.
They have 2 cards in hand. Yeah, it sure seems like it.
Especially if he's going to let you get a counter for it.
I lost tomorrow again. 1, I owe you 1. Yep. Thank you.
Both players have given each other a tunic counter back now.
Pay it forward.
Yep. Very friendly. That's a 2-card block, but we know what is going to happen here. Unless it's a blue shred. But that doesn't seem as
Sigil.
Oh, it's just a sigil.
We got baited.
We were wrong. He tricked us.
I think that's part of Sigil's strength in these decks to play attack reactions is like your opponent plays around it and they get blown out.
Yeah. I wonder. I don't think that it would make sense, but I wonder if we ever see a Dorinthia player sneak in a cheeky sigil just to totally throw people off. It probably is not worth it. Like, in reality, there are so many things already that it could be, and your opponent has like a 50-50 to get it right. And I think putting sigil in your deck is more likely to hurt you than trick them.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to think about. Finally sending the CNC here.
It may depend on your area, though. You know, I think if a lot of players in your area are more familiar with Dorinthia, I think the sigil can get better value.
I could see that. Like, you just want to throw them off. They learn how to outplay you, and then you one-up them again.
Yep.
Threatening Guy's arsenal. I cannot get a glimpse of Guy's hand here, but he's got no Crown of Providence left to cash in.
Yeah, block 6, that looks like 2 isolates, a red and a yellow.
Yep.
Losing that Dawnblade counter, unfortunately.
Unfortunate. It never even got the +1.
It did not, yeah. Unlucky. You see the 1 of Ironsong Pride in hand.
Oh, and an all-red hand, so this is not what Chris wants to see. He does have the Tunic counter, which means hopefully he can make something out of nothing here, pitching red plus Tunic to just play one of these cards and swing the Dawnblade. Probably just Valor plus Sword for 6. What is Chris's arsenal? Did you catch it?
I did not. You know, I wonder if here there's some amount of value to be had. Just swinging the Dawnblade, and then he blocks for 3. You Tunic Ironsong Pride. You go into your turn with a counter and a live Ironsong Pride.
I'm going to Ironsong Pride.
That is what Chris is choosing to do here, so looks like Guy's just taking the full 4 down to 19, and counter number 2
Easy 4 damage.
has been acquired. Round of applause for the counter. There's that 1 of Route being drawn up in the hand. All of Dorinthia's hands, it feels like Bravo. All your hands block 12.
Yeah.
That's sort of a cool feeling. I play a lot of like Rune Blades and Rangers that are sometimes like decks littered with block 2s, so it can be a nice refresher to just have a deck where most hands block 12.
I played Dash IO today, and I drew a lot of hands that had less than 6 blocking value.
Yeah, yep. I know that feeling too.
It wasn't cool.
I played Dash AO at Battle Hardened Pittsburgh and Worlds, and I mean the deck blocks reasonably well because you have a solid armor suite, and obviously
You got a big fridge, especially if you're running 2 adaptive plating.
yeah, you have
like,
so much
you're
armor
almost
value
Bravo.
to cash in, but it is it is rough when you draw the triple item.
Yeah.
Nerve Scalpel hits. Here's the Death Touch. Chris does have non-attack actions in his hand. Unfortunately, they're his 2 blues, so there's not an extremely happy way to block this.
Yeah, it's definitely rough.
Looks like
Do you cash in the Tunic here?
it's possible. It depends what his arsenal is, which I'm not sure of, but it is pretty hard for him to make something happen with just that yellow plus Route in hand. He's going to take a second to think here. It does seem pretty necessary to stop this on
Oh,
hit.
he is playing for the fatigue angle. It looks like Guy's really running out of cards over there.
Ooh. That would be really cool if that's the way this Dorinthia comes back.
I know, I believe it was Easton Douglas, top 4 Worlds competitor, also at US, or at Calling Vegas this year. I believe he played a Dorinthia deck where it would like race in the early game, and then once your opponent like resets the counter, you just go full fatigue because they just wasted like a full 4 cards to do nothing basically.
Interesting, yeah. Guy, he put a 2 and a 12 on his deck, so I think we've got 14 plus 1 in pitch, 3 in hand.
Yeah, I feel like that deck definitely looks like more than 14 on Chris's side, right?
I think
It
Chris
makes
is
sense,
chilling,
right? Like it's a mostly weapon deck versus a red line play all your cards out deck.
Yeah. Chris has done a lot of pitching in the game. To be fair, Guy has too. He's been swinging his daggers a lot,
Yeah.
but I do think Chris is ahead on the fatigue race.
See a
Chris is-
block 7.
So this kind of makes sense. Guy has 3 cards in hand. The only way to give this go again is by letting it connect. Oh, he's only blocking 8. So if Guy only has a blue shred here, there's no way to force this through and continue his turn. I don't know how many shreds we've seen of the other colors, but maybe
It is just I think I just see a blue shred in hand.
So maybe this is just going to completely stuff the turn.
It might. If it does that good, we need to look at how many isolates are left, because I think that's going to determine how much damage Gi can really do on a turn.
Isolates and also the shreds if they're, well timed. But yeah, I think that was a pretty heads up play from Chris. I don't know how many shreds of different colors he's seen, but maybe he looked through and he for whatever reason put Gi on that blue shred that he did indeed have.
I'm honestly really impressed with that play. That was very heads up.
Yeah, that was amazing. So
We see him pitching the route for later too, which I feel like will definitely come in handy.
Like you mentioned, that can be a nice tutor off of Singing Steelblade. Still a significant life deficit on Chris's side, but slowly but surely running that Uzuri out of cards. Right now, I feel like I would still give the edge to Uzuri in this game. She has isolates, shreds, different ways to go wider than your typical 4-card block 12 hand from Dorinthia, but fatigue is a very real angle here, and I think that Chris is making good decisions playing toward...
Yeah, he's definitely making a lot of decisions towards playing towards that. How many D-reacts does he have left? I think he's got at least one sync below, right?
Let's take a peek at the deck list again.
I don't know how many blue shunts are around. There's 2 red shunts. Did we see both red shunts already? I know we definitely saw one.
I think we only saw one played. He's got... Yeah, definitely at least one sync below, assuming it's in the deck. The fact that we saw Oasis makes me think the sync below is definitely in.
Yeah. Do you think he fat? I feel like there's no way it's not in. Do you think he fat decked this matchup?
Based on some of the cards we've seen so far, including Energy Potion, I feel like he probably fat decked. We have not seen the Nourishing Emptiness yet, which is, I feel like, another potentially telltale sign to like how he was sideboarding.
Yeah.
Oh,
I thought I saw it in there earlier.
My mistake.
He just the CNCs.
He did block with the Nourishing. I am no Dorinthia expert, but I would guess that in general, if he brings in CNC, he maybe sides out Nourishing. So the fact that they're both in there is another suggestion that he's fat decking.
Yeah, I think you just want the numbers in deck. I'm really interested to see this game, whether or not Chris putting the energy potions in deck is going to get him or not.
Oh, Mr. Bodingle's calling out Guy for no Marvel Codex. He's, I think his Dromai deck is like full, blinged out max.
Yeah, it's 100% fully blinged out. So does this mean Guy is broke?
We'll bring on Guy for an interview after. We'll profusely apologize. If he wins, we'll profusely apologize for incorrectly predicting the outcome of this match, and then we'll ask him, you can ask him that question yourself and get his answer. Maybe he just hasn't spent as much time on Uzuri, still searching for the cards he needs to bling it out, but he clearly is a man of fine taste in cardboard.
Oh, dude, I would have let my man borrow the Marvel Codexes today.
Oh, he should have asked. So, we're getting shredded here.
Are we tanking on whether or not it's a D-react? Was it a D-react in hand?
Thank you very much.
I am a bit actually confused about what's happening on this board state. It's very clear that the precision press got shredded, and that's the last red shunt.
Number 2.
That makes sense. So, fully covering this up.
To CNC. Oh, insane read by Mr. Chris Martin.
So, the Isolate stays in the deck, but we are running Guy out of shreds and the like.
From what I can see in his deck, it looks like it's really just a lot of isolates at this point.
Yeah, the Isolates, the fact that they keep looping themselves back means you kind of never run out of them, and you probably run out of 6s before you run out of stealth. I don't know how many relevant threats he has left. Chris is navigating this quite well. This is a really interesting endgame to watch.
We see that second sync blow in hand. I wonder if he's going to try to get it into Arsenal here. Taking the one from the Spider's Bite.
Curious to see whether he donates a card to this Nerve Scalpel. Looks like he's going to... Despite Yi being up a significant amount of life, his life total is low enough that he doesn't have infinite space to set up and guarantee a kill.
Yeah.
If he gives Dori a 5-card hand, he can drop from 19 to Danger Zone very quickly.
For sure. Especially, I think if we can see Chris getting the sync blow and Arsenal, he'll be in a really good spot to, I think, lock up the fatigue this match.
I will be so impressed if Chris manages to navigate his way to a fatigue finish here after being so behind early on.
I will be very impressed as well. We do see the Isolate here. I feel like it's got to be big. If it's a CNC in hand...
Block for 3. Action steal. No react.
Just blocking for 3.
Oh, no reacts.
Not reacting. Okay. This is what we need to
big,
see
that's
from
big.
Chris. Yeah. So we're out of shunts. This is the last defense reaction in deck, we think.
Do you think he's going to swing for 6 here?
I bet he will. I think it, especially with no shunts left, no Oasis left, that tunic counter's not doing much. I think that Guy's life total is still potentially very relevant to this game, and you want to just continue to present as much pressure as possible.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. We saw both blue shunts.
I believe we've seen both played, yeah.
I know we saw both red for sure.
Yeah, I'm not 100% positive. So 6-13 now. Guy is running out of cards, and that life total gap is getting closer to
We do see the shred being pitched here. I feel like if you're Chris, you definitely need to make a mental note of that.
We saw both yellow shreds pitched together earlier, so do you think we're back at those two?
We might be.
Quite possibly another one. I wonder how much Chris is tracking Guy's pitch. I haven't been following closely, but I know that those two were pitched together many turns ago.
So Chris honestly seems like a master at navigating this matchup. Like he's got to be paying attention to it.
Yeah. He's thinking here on blocks. Who's thinking here? It looks like, I think when Guy turns the dagger sideways, that means it hits. So maybe we're...
I think Guy is actually just throwing dice under the table. I believe is what that was.
Oh, maybe he was searching for a pen, I think. And writing down life totals, and now we're on Guy for the next game action here.
Yeah.
Running out of ink during the battle run. I feel like that's very unprepared.
This is a little rough. The bite swing every turn just sneaking in. Enough turns of this plus the 2 damage from flick knives late in the game. It is like starting to threaten Chris's life total just by itself.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot. Honestly, I forgot about the flick knives. That puts another clock on you. You can't really go to 2 life. You have to stay above that.
We do see both yellow shreds getting pitched here, so you have to wonder what Guy has in his hand.
I think it's got to be a pass, right?
It's an interesting spot. You definitely block with a card from Chris's side. One interesting play that could come up is if you're Guy and you think that Chris has that last thing below in his arsenal, you could activate Uzuri with like basically nothing in hand, like just another Iyslander or whatever, to try to bait the sink below.
I think right now he's actually checking to see how many CNCs are left, so that doesn't happen to him. I honestly didn't know you could just banish like whatever with Uzuri until I saw Yanji do it on stream.
It can be kind of sick, like the mind games.
Yeah, it's really wild.
It's very interesting. Assassin is a really cool class. Both of these heroes are kind of like heroes that require experience with how they work to play against them well and like have a lot of reaction speed, 50-50 shenanigans. So it's kind of cool to see from both sides that kind of thing happening in the same game.
Uzuri, I feel like, is such a medium deck in terms of like damage output, but you also bring your opponent down to being a medium deck.
Yeah, it's interesting. It does a really good job against almost all heroes of really like keeping them in check and presenting good disruption.
It's just a good mid-range deck. I mean, I'm sure any deck with Codex of Frailty is going to be broken.
Codex is very good. You have a lot of CNCs universally good. Yeah. You have like multiple flexible cards in Shakedown and Death Touch that like give you a lot of agency over how you're disrupting.
Leave No Witness is also just an insane card.
That is a shred.
Ooh, we see a shred.
Chris is got his hand on the D-React. He's thinking about it. He still has a card in hand, so...
I feel like you can't do it here, though, right?
It seems rough to cash it in for just 2 damage. I don't know. This is really hard to navigate from Chris's side. Flick Knives is getting dangerously close to just threatening to kill you.
So next turn, he's going to have to block the Spider's Bite, or he just dies. But we actually are going to see a pivot turn here, I think. Leave that as a Spoils of War, plus a blue in hand.
Going to hopefully force some blocks, or at least put Guy down to a very dangerous life total if he chooses to take this. Do you think Guy smells the sink below at this point and like probably assumes that's what Chris's arsenal is? There was some hesitation there after the shred, and
I feel like you have to, especially we're getting close to the cycle almost at this point.
It seems like a relatively safe assumption, but especially if you're considering just face tanking 9 here and giving Chris the Dawnblade counter, you probably want to feel confident that 9 is all you're taking.
All right, we have an update from the other quarterfinals.
Ooh.
Thomas Battaglia won over Brandon. So Uzuri.
We see an inertia coming down. Oh, that's actually so huge.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
That may have been the best card Guy could have casted there.
Well, sorry for that interruption, but Uzuri did win over the Dromai, was the last match that we were waiting on.
At least one Uzuri moving on. So
I guess wrong.
Kano, Dromai, and Uzuri waiting in the semifinals for this last match here on stream. Spider's Bite coming in. From Chris's side, you basically are forced to block this at this point. It's looking not great for Chris.
I think you 100% have to. You just die if you don't, right?
Yeah. Flick Knives, threatening, basically putting you at a virtual 1.
Yeah, I think at this point he's counting how many cards in deck to see if he can live. if he's actually able to block these spiders. But I think he's got a good chunk in there. Like I said, I think it really just depends on when we see this double E-pot come up. If it's split between like 2 hands, I think there's a really big chance Chris can win here.
Do we still have one CNC or some swap target in Guy's deck?
We have a surgical extraction. I don't know about CNC.
This is dangerous with no D-react. It could... Oh, that's an Uzuri activation. And...
Oh, only
Okay.
one. Yeah, this is some deck dammy, though. Well, actually, this is enough to just close the game out here, right?
in theory, Guy should win at this point with Flick Knives, yes. I'm curious to see the final game actions played out. They're just going through the motions here. I believe that if Guy navigates this next turn, I guess 2 turns because of Flick Knives once per turn requirement properly, he should have this locked up.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if Guy just eat 3 here, strip his whole hand, throw a knife at him.
Yeah, there is not
That's a
much
wrap.
chance for Chris. Guy is at 10, so there's no real...
Oh, we did see the E-pot split up between 2 hands. It's like absolutely best case scenario, but I don't know if it's enough. We do see there's a command and conquer, so I think it's like definitely a wrap at this point. If it wasn't already before.
So is he gonna flick the bite now? I'm not sure. He is thinking here. At the very least, he has to play 1 more turn after this, so game is not over.
See, just Codex. Broken card. I believe that's a wrap now for sure. Yeah, just Death Touch.
Yeah,
I think it just kills him.
you just can't block enough.
Yep.
That is it. Players are going to play it out here, but he's going to have to discard 1. He can block 4 with the Tunic. 4 on 6 equals 2 damage leaked. And Guy Cohen advances to the semifinals.
That's the grossest thing about Codex of Frailty is it's like winners by it in the late game when your opponent's got no arsenal. They just die a lot of the time.
Yeah, Codex is so strong for so many reasons. Very flexible. All 3 were played in this game. Obviously, at this point, the game was kind of over
Yeah, I was
already,
gonna
but the first 2 were quite strong.
First 2 were very good. I'd say this third one, obviously the game was a lock at that point, but it is pretty good still.
I mean, great job to Guy, obviously moving on, but also shout out to Chris, playing to his outs in that game, navigating the end of it.
Navigated that incredibly well. I really did think he had a chance for like the majority of that game.
Yeah, it was really
Even
interesting.
with the life total deficit.
We went from like, oh, there's like, 27-9, Guy's just crushing this guy, to like, oh wow, Guy's deck is getting low. That was a
It
serious
got really
game.
close. I think it's just like the Uzuri deck has a lot of kind of clunker hands.
It can, yeah. Every time you spend a full card to just swing your dagger,
Feels bad.
yeah, it can be nice if you combine it with a disruptive effect that your opponent can't block well, then maybe you get the value back. But I did think, like, toward the end, and a couple of those, like, turns in the medium late game, we saw Guy play kind of inefficient, and his life total got lower and lower while Chris was able to keep blocking out.
And eventually you should get to a point, like assuming the fatigue plan actually works, you'll get to a point in the match where the Uzuri's deck is entirely just isolates, and they're only going to hit you for 3 a turn.
Yeah.
And you'll just be able to get in there with the Dawn Blade for 1, or Dawn Blade for 3.
Yep.
Slowly fatigue him down.
So congratulations to Chris making it to the top 8 with Dorinthia. He has fallen in the quarters, though. We've got an Uzuri mirror coming up. Uzuri guaranteed in finals. Who do you think is favored in this Uzuri mirror if we know anything about Thomas's deck list?
I don't know anything about Thomas's deck list. I'm sure I could actually find it real quick if I go through Discords. So from what I know...
See you, Brody. Great game, man.
Yeah, good game. Have a good one.
Take it easy, bro.
We're saying bye to some people. People are heading out. So, not sure what the Uzuri mirror is going to look like, but this is
I think their lists are very similar. They may be almost on the same one. I know they tested together a lot. For U.S. Nationals, they worked on the deck together a bit. I think they just had a disagreement on how good Shred is, but I think Guy has come around on Shred being good. So, it may be same 80, honestly. I don't know for sure, though.
similar decks, pretty close matchup. Either way, one of these Uzuris will be meeting the winner of Mara versus Julian in the finals. I have to imagine our next match is going to be Mara Julian. Dromai versus Kano, a very well-known player in Mara against a maybe less known on the scene, but in my opinion,
Very good Kano player for
yeah,
sure.
extremely formidable Kano. has gotten really close at a lot of battle hardens, has bubbled out, and has had great runs at other events. So I'm really excited to see him in the semifinals.
Yeah, me too.
And I think this is going to be a really interesting game we have coming up. We will be back very soon with that, and we are going to go to a quick break. Don't go anywhere.
Hey yo, Don Amurabi. You want me to tell him about the bazaar, or do you want me to use the clams, huh?
Relax, Captain. These are our customers, and we are their merchants.
It's okay, I'll handle it. You, I know your problems, and I got the goods to fix them. You watched an OP deck tech and need to buy the spice.
Buy from the bazaar.
You are deep into theory crafting the next hottest deck.
Buy it from the bazaar.
You are changing your Pro Tour deck list last minute.
Buy from the bazaar.
You follow the meta and need to change decks.
Buy from the bazaar.
You have an addiction to box breaks.
Buy from the bazaar.
You find yourself dealing fab to new customers.
Yes, catch me outside and I'll hook you up.
And you, don't forget, get your cards from me, Hammurabi TCG.
Or else you get the clamps.
Go to ascent-gaming.com for all your Flesh and Blood merchandise needs. Use code SAVAGE to get 5% off your entire purchase.
Do you know what the hardest part about being a brute is? No, it's not rolling a 1, because that never happens. It's not discarding your Blood Rush to Pulping or Wild Ride. It's actually having to buy hundreds and hundreds of Reckless Swings for your opponents to sign as you kill them with it and put them in the ground. That's why I go to fabfoundry.co. With incredibly competitive pricing and extremely fast shipping methods, fabfoundry.co is the only place I need for an unlimited supply of Reckless Swings. Visit fabfoundry.co to support one of the OGs of the Flesh and Blood community and to get your product delivered on time, safely, so you can go crush your foes.
All right, we had to get this camera angle in there real quick. That's Mara's Ashwing.
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to the top 4 of Battle Hardened Orlando. We are about to jump into a match, which is going to be Dromai versus Kano. Our last Dromai and our last Kano remaining, of which there were 2 in the top 8. And we are also down to 2 Uzuri, which are going to be the other match happening right now. What do you think about this upcoming match, Dromai versus Kano?
Yeah, so Mara just beat a Kano. She beat Justin Graham, who's playing that kind of crazy, what is it called? Aether.
Oh, yeah. Absorbent Aether.
Absorbent Aether, yeah. He's playing that crazy Absorbent Aether list. I think that, so Mara, I believe, is still playing Invoke Themai.
Yep.
So I think Invoke Themai is going to be like a big component of whether or not she's able to kind of like live long enough. Because if you land one of those early, you know, it's going to be pretty big. I think Mara did lose to, I don't know if she lost to Justin or to Julian and the Swiss portion. She said that she lost to a Kano. Julian's playing a more kind of traditional Kano list, like a wildfire list. One thing that is kind of important is he's playing 3 blue Singes and also 2 red Aether Darts. And these are some of the only ways that Kano has to kind of deal with dragons on the field.
Yeah, Red Aether Dart being a really great card in that you can Crucible and then shoot it into a Themai to kill it. So that could happen at instant speed, although less likely it'll probably happen on Kano's turn. We do have the deck list here. One interesting thing as well is Mara's on 2 sand cover, but no Oasis. So really Themai and those 2 sand covers are going to be like the only ways to navigate around.
Yeah. Julian's playing yellow Aether Spindle, so I think he's like set up to combo fast.
Yeah, he's also playing blues, which I think a lot of decks aren't on that color usually. So we have 8 copies of Aether Spindle. So it'll be interesting to see if this gets them there faster, but we're actually going to head into that match right now.
Yeah, Mara as the number 4 seed versus Julian as the number 1 seed. Julian's going to get to choose to go play draw. And, you know, that is quite potentially a big advantage in this matchup.
Yeah.
I believe Kano should opt to go second.
Agreed. Yeah, I think you want to play on our turn as Kano, so you really want to have this extra turn where you are able to force some damage through, potentially to essentially start Mara at a lower life total.
Yeah, and Mara's kind of like forced to use a card, at least on Seeker's Gloves or something to generate that first dash.
Not starting with any Arcane Barrier outside of Arcanite Skullcap, which I doubt you're ever going to be able to do that unless she pitches 3
Yeah,
reds.
I mean, I think Mara's plan is very clear. She is all reds, no blues.
Yep.
Cannot afford to spend cards to block 1 damage, and so is going to have to.
Okay. Ashwing needs to go.
I can hear my own cards, and I don't.
Okay. So game is about to start. We do see that she chooses Dominion, and Seekers is really the only way to stop arcane damage right now before generating Ashwings. Of course, Ashwings have Arcane Barrier.
Yeah, and I think that probably are going to have to use the Seekers early.
Yep. Agreed. I think that's going to be Mara's utility for Ash generation for the most part. All right, and this is the baby Ashwing. All right.
Julian's choosing to play, what's it called?
The Spellfire Cloak.
Julian's choosing to play Spellfire Cloak. I think this game is going to be over very fast.
Yeah, it might be possible we need that on the road camera to go see the other match.
Man on the street.
The man on the street.
Man stand on the street.
So we are going to start here. We'll see who Julian opted to go first. I would assume you let Mara go first. The downside of that, of course, is Mara can establish potentially something like a Thamaya really early.
Yeah, I wonder if you know that Mara doesn't have AB, do you go second? Or do you go first? You just like do damage?
Potentially. We also see Julian started with an E-pot, so if he is going first, I mean, what a great way just to immediately establish so much value for your combo turn.
Yeah.
So it looks like Mara's thinking more than Julian. So yep. Oh, start with Tome and Kano, please. So, he sees.
He sees the wildfire. This is.
Mara said good game. That's hilarious. Yeah, the fact that was the next card is pretty absurd. If Julian has 3 blues in hand, I mean, you just try to find something else with Kano here.
Or like 2 blues and, like anything else. Julian has.
I think it's a red dart. So it's 1 red, 2 blues, I think, at the moment.
Yeah, which is, pretty good. Like, I wonder.
So this is potentially 4 into 8 if it's not buffed by Crucible.
Yeah.
So you can pitch the blue to Crucible the Wildfire for 5, and then Blazing comes in for 5 + 5.
So if Julian has another blue in his hand.
Yes.
So you can cast the Wildfire on Ragamuffins. If you draw a blue, what is that? That's 5 damage on the Aether Wildfire. Mara can prevent 1, so it'll be 4 damage.
And then the
Aether Dart will come in for 7, so 11 total. Plus
11 + 4 is 15 more.
Yeah. So what is that? 15, 26. It's a casual 30 damage on turn 0.
This is absolutely wild. The game's gonna be over in 45 seconds.
But if Mara has sand cover,
it's true. Because a red card has technically been played, we can pitch into Furnace at instant speed, which would generate Ash, and then sand cover also at instant speed. So we are going to do the play that you mentioned, where in response to Kano, we're going to Ragamuffins, put the dart on top, then let Kano resolve, which will banish the dart. Dart is a free spell, and this is red, which is 3 arcane damage. So if we pitch our blue into Crucible, this is... Oh, we're not going to Crucible. Interesting. So... Oh, it's a yellow. Oh, yeah, it's Lessons in Lava.
Yeah,
so.
I think quite risky to have Kano'd, and then use Ragamuffins. You can actually just play Aether Wildfire and then use Ragamuffins.
Right.
If you really had drawn a red, that would have been very awkward.
Yeah.
I guess you can always use the Spellfire Cloak.
That's true. Because I do think it's worth the damage here.
Mm-hmm.
It is a little bit awkward because typically Ragamuffins is how you make sure your combo turn goes off. But
if Mara has sand cover, then we're in for a bad time for Julian. But it looks like she doesn't.
Does not. Yeah. So 3 comes through.
3.
Now this is 6.
Yeah. So
should be 6. What?
Take 7. 30.
Yeah, it should be 6 instead of 7. You just tell the
correct, right? Didn't she Seekers the
15? Yes. Go to 15.
Because the Wildfire didn't.
Go to 15? Yep.
Yeah, so we're gonna have them check just to be sure, but either way, it's a lot of damage.
Quite a gross turn 0 so far.
Okay. Yep. So they are going to fix it. So glad we caught that. Top 8, of course. This is important that we get these things right. So 3 Arcane went through. It was 4. Seeker stopped 1. Aether Dart gets buffed by 3. So 3 plus 3 is 6. And then the Blazing would be 6 plus 3 plus 3, which is 12. So 12 plus 9 is 21 damage. So Mara will be at
only
19.
21.
Yeah. It's not like 30, so it's fine. You just started the game at 19, basically.
And this is why we don't put Kano on stream that often.
Yeah. This is why. All of you Kano players who want to be on stream, this is why we don't. So
Mara's gonna be able to take her turn. You know, for how bad like the game is going, you know, if she draws into because the tome is still active,
right?
So she can draw into like, let's say, like a Kyloria or something, and she can honestly do a lot of damage back to Julian.
Oh, 100%. The life totals actually might be equal after this turn, depending on what she draws here. Yeah, I think Mara is going to, typically on turn 0, you wouldn't really do that much other than setup, but since there's no cards in hand, you might as well just...
Yeah, you might as well just push.
Yeah. So she's going to have to pitch 2 cards, so she'll be on a 2-card hand, I believe, because she had to pitch 1 for Seekers earlier.
Yeah, but if, I mean, I think the card that Mara wants to draw the most right now is Kyloria.
We do see an Asvalai in hand. We'll have 3 Ash. I don't know what the other card is. Certainly we're playing the Asvalai. Is that Kyloria too? If her hand is Kyloria Asvalai, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So, it is Asvalai Kyloria. Wow.
Wow. Kyloria is honestly a great equalizer in this spot. Because you draw into like another card. And then you can play the Azulai, and then she still has yet to use her Flame Scale Furnace.
Right.
So she can play, I mean, literally anything.
Right, I think any card that she draws is playable outside of a... She doesn't play the big dragons, I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think anything would literally be a playable card. So she did draw. I couldn't see what the draw was, but...
It's 1 Arcane, 2 physical. Yeah, correct.
Julian just being priced into having to take these, and then... Last card she has in hand is...
This is truly like an our turn
Nourishing?
situation.
Oh my gosh. Pay for Furnace, go to 2 resources, play for Nourishing.
Yeah.
6 Dominate, go to 5 cards in hand. I think both players just had insane...
This is truly an our turn situation. You know, I was told when I first started playing Flesh and Blood that usually people don't attack, you know, on the first turn of the game. Clearly, that is
we were lied to.
Propaganda.
Yeah. It's a psyop. Yeah, draw 5 cards for Mara. Julian gets to take his actual first turn with a fresh hand, which is quite insane. So we're going to see a Tome of Find-Out, which is so good to park in Arsenal. So
yeah, although the way that the game is going, you know, honestly, the Tome of Find-Out might be kind of awkward to park in the Arsenal because who knows, like...
How long this is going to go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ideally, you would want to see Tome of Find-Out from the top of the deck.
Right. Yeah, drawing it can be a little awkward because it's a yellow pitch if you're trying to just pitch it away, and then in Arsenal it clogs up the Arsenal, so you have to play it.
It's just that I feel like the game is going to be so short.
Yeah.
Julian is essentially Tamar has basically 7 power on the board and 5 cards, so Julian is in lethal range this turn.
Yeah, right. Because if we just price every card in Mara's hand has 3 value, which is quite likely. Yeah, that's already game in her hand and on field. So
Julian obviously has, you know, access to Storm Strider still, but you know, sometimes Kano just does whiff.
Yeah, sometimes you see the eye off the top, and it's really unfortunate. So Julian's thinking about what to do here. This could be a quick game for Julian, even still. Like Mara is certainly presenting a lot, especially with that extra card draw and establishing 2 of the best dragons you can establish immediately.
Yeah, although this Aether Spindle, so Aether Spindle is like going to be one of the best cards in this really short matchup. And I was mentioning before, so he's actually playing Yellow Aether Spindle right now. Yellow Aether Spindle is one of those cards where if you think your opponent is not playing Arcane Barrier, it is so good.
Yeah, it's like, I think people typically just play red copies of this card. Julian is on rainbow of this card, 8 copies, 2 yellows, along with 3 blues, 3 reds.
Yeah.
So this is a card that we don't typically see played, but the value in just seeing Spindle more often because you're playing more copies is so strong because you get to opt and keep playing on your own turn.
Yeah, and Spindle also on your Spindle on your own turn is just so powerful because even if you don't get to op 5 and set up your next your first banish for the next turn,
right?
What you do get to do is you get to dig into another red on this current turn.
Right. So it's quite likely here that we get to choose a red to stack, and then we get
Julian
to
might have shown Mara the cards.
So, in case anyone isn't aware, Red Spindle is so good because it opts 5 if it all hits, which means you get to draw 4 cards, and you know what that next card is for Kano on your opponent.
Ooh, and Potion of Deja Vu. This is not really the card that you want to see. So I'm quite surprised that this was the setup. Probably the top 4 cards, all blues.
Yeah. So you either try to put them all on the bottom and just hope for a better top card under them, or you just take some immediate known value.
And Mara, there's no defense.
No.
Maybe like you have what's it called? You do have sand covers. Now, kind of interesting. The Potion of Deja Vu does have some defensive properties.
Mm-hmm.
It is an item on Julian's side of the field, so Kylori cannot draw a card.
This is interesting. I wonder if he chooses to let the Kyloria hit because it can just take this Deja Vu potion.
This attack, however, can draw a card if it hits. Snatch Red, one of the best attacks in Flesh and Blood.
One of the earliest cards in the game, and still one of the most insane cards in the game. 0 for 4 draw a card with cards like Snapdragon Scalers are just, it's so strong. Like even if your whole turn is a snatch, it's still so threatening being a breakpoint and potentially giving you an arsenal.
Yeah, and Julian is kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place because, ideally you don't really want to be blocking once you know that Mara still has 4 more cards available to her.
Yeah, this is the power of playing like completely redline Dromai with these attack actions, is you can get immediate value from cards that cannot be popped and also threaten like hit effects like Snatch does.
Yeah, Julian's in the tank. This is, I think, an all too familiar face for Kano players. I've seen Peter make this face multiple times. You're just kind of wondering, how did I get myself into this situation?
Yeah, it's really like you have to think about so much to play Kano. I think it's pretty wild to be able to play Kano through 7 rounds of Swiss and through top 8. Like this requires so much thought to not play it incorrectly and to not die because you're at 30 health and you can't pop dragons.
That's why I just like to play the decks that require no thinking.
Yeah.
Big number, go boom.
Briar was the best. I pump, I get go again, I attack, I do sword, pass, I do it again. So we're gonna Kano.
I think we're going for it.
Red Spindle is insane. This Kano, the reason he has gotten so far is just, sometimes the luck gods are in your favor, and here we see it.
Yeah, and Red Spindle, is really nice because... Wait, why does he not have an arsenal?
Last turn he did not...
Oh, he kept the tome. He kept the tome in his hand.
Yep.
Dude, what a play. So Red Spindle is actually kind of nuts here because one of the cards that Kano has access to, like 2 cards that Kano has access to in order to kind of dig yourself out of the situation and go like super plus to be able to combo your opponent out, is you have 3 copies of Tome of Aetherwind, and you have 3 copies of Tome of Findel.
Yep. And one thing as well, like the Deja Vu potion could come into play here because you could stack the Tome of Findel on top of your deck and then draw 2 cards off of playing it and draw blues as well to keep going with Kano. And we are going to see this comes in for 5. And he can stack with Gaze as well. So he can stack Gaze, which will go back to his hand. He can stack Tome.
Oh, and then there's a
no
Blazing Aether.
Oh, Lesson in Lava as well. This is probably just game. I think this is enough. He has 6 resources available to him with Spellfire Cloak. I don't even think he needs the Deja Vu potion.
Does he have 2 Blazing Aethers?
I think it was 1 Blazing.
So I mean, if he has 1 Blazing, he doesn't have enough. He needs to put the tome to draw into 2 blues, I think.
So with 6 resources, we can banish a spell plus Blazing, and I think spell plus Blazing, as long as it's a red spell, should do it.
I think he's in the clear because he has the tome.
Yeah, that too.
But it's a little awkward because you need something to pitch the tome into. So and ideally you don't want to I think you don't want like 3 cards in your pitch zone. So we might see something like pitching the tome to activate Storm Striders, like just so that your pitch zone is just the Tome and 2 blues, because you really don't want the 3rd blue to be on top of your deck. So you can pitch the Tome of Findal to activate Storm Striders.
Have 1 floating.
Activate the Potion Deja Vu. Put the Tome of Findal on top of the 2 blues. Then draw the 2 blues. So you essentially, well, that doesn't really do, that just converts your Tome to a blue.
Yeah, so you go from 6 resources to 7.
You go from 6 to 7. Although if you go from 6 to 7, then you can go Lesson in Lava. You can go Lesson in Lava Blazing.
And that
would be 5, 8. That would be enough. That would be 16 total for the turn.
So hopefully he sees the line with the Deja Vu potion. So we're gonna pitch for Kano, over pitch for Kano, so we remain 2 floating.
But he has Gaze, so Gaze is fine.
Gaze is good enough here. So we're gonna stack Gaze at the bottom after the draws from Tome.
Yep.
So we will then resolve our Kano here, which will get us
even better. We didn't need any of that.
So pay 1, have 1 floating, draw 2, and then we know the next card is Gaze here, so we pitch into another Kano. Gaze, opt 2 again. Gaze comes back to hand. So we now have 8 resources available to us, and we've opted the top 2 cards of our deck.
Yep.
So as long as this is, something really good. Go to 2. And I think he knows the next card is Blazing.
Paying 1, metacarp is trigger, I'll pay the 1. This is coming for 4. Sure, take 4.
And it looks like Mara does not have the same cover.
There's nothing that can be done, and so unfortunate. Blazing for game. Good game. That is absolutely wild. We are on turn 1, by the way. Welcome to the Blitz Orlando Battle Hardened, as that comment said. I have never seen anything like that in CC, to be honest. Like, to combo that early, just inadvertently, is impressive.
Yeah, and I think Julian's deck list is just set up really well to do something like this. Like, having the Rainbow Aether Spindles is really just, like, super strong as a punish for decks that want to run no Arcane Barrier.
Yeah, I think that shows the power of playing Rainbow Spindle, Yellow Spindle, which isn't typically used. It's just the fact that he was able to dig for this so much earlier than was probably typically likely for a Kano deck.
Yeah, it's funny because the other Kano that we had on, who was playing like this kind of crazy Absorbent Aether list designed to kind of beat the people who are playing, AB3.
Yep.
He was, I think, one of the first pioneers to be playing like Yellow Spindle. And now Julian, first seed, with the yellow Aether Spindles, full circle.
Full circle. Yeah, it is really impressive to see a card that just no one plays in Kano be basically the reason that game was won.
Yeah.
What a fun game to watch. Obviously, very quick. So we're going to take our man Sant on the street cam over to the...
to the Uzuri mirror.
The Uzuri mirror, which is really unfortunate. It's essentially like a team kill. They're both very much like always.
I think it's okay to team kill in top 4.
Yeah.
Somebody's guaranteed a PTI.
Yep.
So for anybody who's watching who isn't familiar with the prize structure for Battle Hardens, pretty much most of the prizing is to the finalists.
Right.
In terms of what people are really playing for, where both of the finalists get a PTI, and also the winner gets a legendary gold foil.
Gold foil, yeah.
Yeah, and then other than that, I think the cash prizing is the same for both finalists.
Yeah. So really, you want to win the Battle Hardened. That's mostly it. If you're trying to get a PTI, you want to get to the finals, basically. So, it is unfortunate that they're going to have to meet at some point. It's really impressive they both got here, and at least they know one of their friends is going to make it to the finals.
Yeah, but like, what a run for Julian, undefeated in Swiss, undefeated now in the top 8, and looking to face one of 2 Uzuris, both of which I do not think have any Arcane Barrier. So we might see something similar to what just happened on stream again.
I think Julian is so confident going into the final round, knowing it's going to be an Uzuri. I think that's what he wants.
Yeah, definitely.
So we might have a final that's honestly pretty quick. 0 Arcane Barrier against Kano. Just you have to, as Uzuri, draw so well to do so much damage.
Yeah, so I think good for us. We get to go home a little bit earlier, but it's gonna be a quick show.
Yeah.
For the top 8.
I think this just shows that like in an open meta, especially when decks are taking out like Arcane Barrier because Iyslander is gone, it just shows that like Kano is so strong, especially if you can pilot the deck really well.
Yeah, and Julian, I think, having a lot of confidence, a lot of experience, just knowing like all of the lines. He took some time during the game to kind of think it through, but once he like found it out, like executed flawlessly.
Yeah, I was watching him play against the Azalea in the top 8 match, and he took probably like 5 minutes to think about a line one turn, and then just had the kill. But like, I totally respect wanting to make sure that you have the play correct and you don't want to mess up, especially in the top 8.
Yeah, so we're doing a hand cam view of the Uzuri mirror. It looks like pretty close game. This also looks like it has been quite a fast game. 15 to 16.
Yeah, very even right now. Looks like all equipment is still live. They're both on Snapdragon scalers. And I know that the only difference between their decks is D is on 2 blue shreds and Tom is only on yellow and reds.
I'm really surprised that they decided to play Snapdragon scalers. Like, they still have to play.
Yeah, I would think the breakpoint stopping is useful, but maybe just pressuring more damage into like a codex is worth the Snapdragon. Yeah, their decks are so similar. I think Gi is on 2 sigils instead of 1, I think, which Tom is on, and 2 blue shreds on Gi's side, and then Tom is playing 1 extra looking for scrap. He is on the 1 and 1 of looking for scrap and nimble strike. So very close game, 15 to 15, and we see Tom starting his turn with double dagger, which not the strongest play, but it does make it so blocking can be difficult.
Yeah, Spider's Bite is pretty good for it hits like most of Zuri's stuff, but Spider's got Bite plus Nerf Scalpel basically hits the entire deck.
Right. So we do actually see this force a card from Gi, and this is going to be a yellow Isolate. 2 Dominate, which allows us to switch in with Uzuri because it also has Stealth.
Yeah, and the real fear, sometimes you just gotta like use the Crown of Providence. If you switch in to like a Command and Conquer, it's just, you know, bad news all around.
Yeah, I think a mirror match like this where the decks are so mid-range, like any amount of value you can get over your opponent can just be...
yeah, so I'm suspecting Gi might have a defense reaction set.
Lets it resolve.
Yeah, shows the Surgical Extraction. Surgical is such a big card.
Yeah, I love it here too because it's just coming over for the extra 1. So de-reacting from it is very difficult.
He was going to play the Sink Below from the Banish Zone, but unfortunately cannot do that, unlike Levia.
So we see that the CNC has been banished, which I think might adjust what Gi wants to do on his turn.
Yeah, Gi I think is just left with a blue in his hand.
Yeah, it didn't. I think he wanted to pitch blue in CNC. Nimble Strike, okay.
Yeah, so maybe saving the stealth. I think it was a stealth card.
It likely is. I think probably the only blues you play would be that or Shred.
Yeah.
So Nimble Strike 5 go again. I don't know that the go again is going to do very much here though.
Yeah, I think you just like playing it. You know, it's a 5 damage on a card.
1 card, yeah.
Why not?
The Tunic helped a lot here. So Tom actually has the Sink in Arsenal, so only taking 1 here. Really nice. What a close game. 13 to 14 now. And back to Tom's turn, I assume. Yep. So Tom is actually going to get a whole grip to work with, which, if we're talking about tempo, I think it seems like Tom currently has it.
Now Tom's hand looks like he has Nimblism as well.
Oh.
So we might see like a snap here.
Does he have Codex?
Yeah, that's what I was...
Yep.
It's a little hard to see given the lighting, but you know, we do the best that we can.
I think the middle card is, or that last card is Codex.
Yeah, so something kind of big that Tom might have access to is you snap the infect, draw a card from Gi's hand, then you can go something like weapon nimblism,
right.
Codex.
Yeah. Weapon nimblism Codex.
Yeah, and I think Gi should be tipped off by the fact that Tom just like cleared the arsenal.
Yep.
With sinking the nimble strike. Normally you wouldn't really want to be doing that.
Nope. Yeah, I think Gi should know that this is a Codex turn. What you can do about it though, I'm not sure, but you definitely should see that it's coming.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where a lot of players are like, oh, I knew you had Codex. Well, you can't really do anything.
Yeah,
about it,
just because you know, what are you going to do? So certainly we're going to see snaps here. If Tom has a Shred, I think this is actually a good card to Shred as well, because it's Blood Rot on hit, which is great. Yep.
Yeah, so it looks like we have a Shred in play with the Snapdragon Scalers.
So this is going to now hit for 5, essentially, Blood Rot and 3 physical, because the yellow Shred reduced the 3 block to a 0 block.
Yeah, and the Infect, being lava burst. Kind of good.
It's kind of good. Turns out 0 for 5s, super strong.
Yeah, 0 for 4s. I'm so done with you. 0 for 5s. That's what we want.
Yeah, I'm only gonna play a deck if I can do 4-card 20s. Anything else, I don't want.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's why we're playing Kano now. 4-card 20.
4-card, you're dead. So we can see the Blood Rot hit. We now have Go again from the Snapdragons, and I believe Nimblism Codex will then be the follow-up. So Tom not only having the tempo, but also just having an
Does he
insane
have
hand.
Death Touch in his graveyard? Because this would be actually
I think
tremendous.
that's probably what that is. That is a Death Touch. So we have the Tunic counter for a Death Touch here, which this is so strong. Death Touch for 9 is like you just get all of Gee's hand essentially.
Yeah, and Gee already having the Blood Rot box. One play that the Tom kind of had available to him. I don't know if you necessarily want to make the play here, but you could have also like flicked the Spider's Bite.
Yeah.
So if you flick the Spider's Bite on the Infect, then all of Gee's attack actions would have been minus this turn, and then he would have likely had to give, if you wanted to prevent the hit trigger, some armor.
Some armor too, yeah. Because you definitely don't want another Blood Rot Pox. It's just so much damage you're about to take.
Yeah, like he is basically at effective 8 here. He's not going to be taking, or he's not going to be paying for the Blood Rot Pox in most likelihood.
Yeah, I think their decks run like 10 to 12 blues or something. Like he's probably going to block with his whole hand, and if not, I don't think he's going to have or keep a blue.
Oh.
So we're under Frailty, we're under Blood Rot. Gee's turn is probably going to be just pass again, and if Tom can keep up drawing 4 good cards and playing all of them out, I think with this tempo, Tom seems like he's in the driver's seat at the moment.
Yeah, being at this life total is so dangerous into Uzuri because you're basically like one good attack away from losing the game.
Yep. So just so there's no hand knowledge, we are
Oh, yes.
covering up our stream, so
yeah,
makes sense. We are very close to the
yeah,
table.
the players could look to the left and hey, it's the stream.
Oh, he does have the codex. All right, so Gee having to think here, what do I block on this Death Touch for 9? Death Touch is probably one of my favorite cards in the game. I love the card so much. Like, the downside of only being able to play it from Arsenal.
Yeah, I got a lot of flack. One time, Ethan can attest to this. We were playing on Talishar, and I was playing Levia, and somebody attacked me with Death Touch, and I just put the Karen Husk in front of it, and everyone was flaming me. They're like, "Why'd you do that?" And I was like, "It's Death Touch." Need I say more?
It's a 1 for 8.
Need I say more?
Yeah, it was Yanji just like teetering on a Rager's Edge the entire game, just because it's like one of his first Levi games, at least that I'd ever spectated, into Uzuri, where like only very certain hit effects actually disrupt you, and then when for the first time ever in the game, when it's like a face-up Death Touch, like not even a swap, just a Death Touch, Yanji like insta-blocks Husk when his hand could block like 2 other ways, or you could just like take the Death Touch, and we're all spectating the game in the Runaways Discord. We're like, Yanji, what are you doing? And he goes, it's Death Touch.
What do you mean?
We're like, no, but like, what's the play here? Like, why this spell? It's Death Touch. It's like, okay, well,
All right.
you can't argue with it, friends.
It is
You can't.
It is Death Touch. Yeah, I agree. I think the card's really strong, especially if you are trying to keep your arsenal, like you're holding a Blood Rush if you're playing a Brute deck. So
Don't justify my plays.
no, I'm on your side.
Need no justification.
Ooh, we get the Crown and we get the Tunic.
Yeah. Oh.
6, 7, 8, 9. That is a 9 block.
Yeah, Gee wanting to keep 2 cards.
Yeah, I think he recognizes that if you give Tom 100% tempo and you have none.
Yeah, probably looking for maybe something to swap into, or maybe he has something to swap into and looking for a stealth card.
Yeah, hopefully he drew it, so he can maybe claw some tempo back here. If he can swap into something like a CNC to hit that card Tom just got off that Ponder, definitely would be some value.
Yeah, but Tom is definitely it's Tom's game to lose. Like he has all the control. He still has access to Crown of Providence, in addition to being essentially 6 life up.
Right. Oh, so Gee actually plays Codex and discards a card, which makes this card certainly less valuable.
Looks like he doesn't have something like Leave No Witnesses.
Oh.
So just here to grab a Ravenous Rabble.
What's
Flips-
even worse about this is it was played from Arsenal, so Frailty impacts it as well.
Oh, yes, true. And he flipped a... what did he flip? I don't know, like a blue?
I'm not sure. Tom is in the tank, though.
I believe that the flip was not great. Yeah, it was a blue. But now that he draws the blue, he can use it to pay for the blood rot.
Shouldn't it be a 1? Because it's played from Arsenal?
Yeah, you took 1.
Oh, he only took 1 damage?
Yeah,
Wow.
he was at 14. But, you know, it's a blue, so you get to save blood rot, so, you know, trade-offs. You do 2 less damage, you save 2 life.
So, it looks like Yi also did not Arsenal the card, because you probably don't want a blue in Arsenal.
Yeah, and we see another Nimbleism, choosing not to...
Buff this. This must have go again, then.
Yeah.
If it's another Codex, this game is... Well, I guess you have to clear Arsenal first.
All right. Real quick, Brody is asking if he can cast Finals. What's the read? Nope. Okay, there we go. You guys are locked in.
Sorry, Wonder Child. So it is an infect. Oh, it's an isolate that was shredded.
Oh,
Is that?
Yeah.
It was isolate, and then he shredded, and then we have an isolate on the crack back.
Yeah.
Like Yi at 5, I mean, there's still 2 activations of Flick Knives. You're effectively at 3. I just don't know if you can come back from this deficit in a mirror match that once someone has tempo, I think it's hard to do.
Yeah, I mean, like, you're playing all the same cards.
Yep.
There's always a chance. Uzuri does have the ability to draw into, you know, some hands that are pretty awkward. Like, let's say if your hand draw is like 3 shreds.
Right.
You can't really do any damage with that.
You're going to be like daggers pass or something.
Yeah.
We see that Yi tried to shred the infect to do the same thing that Tom did, but Tom actually had the Fate Foreseen to not take 5 damage.
Yeah, so we see looks like a red infect.
I believe so.
4 go again. Really strong.
Yep. So block for 3, and then I think Yi probably took 1 here. Unless we're still in reactions.
Yeah, it's probably going to be taking 3. Tom might be thinking if he wants to flick.
Flick, yep. So Tom says it's fine. He's not ready to flick just yet. And then we're going to another isolate. This card is so good. If Tom does have a good swap target in his hand, so we block 4 here. That's one great thing you can do about Uzuri, which is pretty obvious, but just like play a stealth card. They overblock because they think they have to, and then you just pass.
I wonder if he actually had like a surgical so that the block 4 was
actually mattered. Yeah.
Yeah. Surgical is actually not really the card that you want to have in your arsenal. It can be a little awkward, but Tom does have access to the Crown of Providence to just get it out of there if he wants to.
Yeah, and this could be a time where you block with like a 3-block Crown Tunic since the game's almost over, and just avoid everything and also get rid of your arsenal. It is a CNC.
Shows the CNC and
loses a Death Touch, I believe. Ooh. So that is impactful. Tom would have had Tunic Death Touch available to him on his turn, which is really strong.
Yeah, agreed.
So we see Tom also has a CNC in his hand. So if we also see Isolate CNC, this will be hilarious. Just back and forth.
Isolate CNC here, I think, would be the game in all likelihood.
Because you can flick in reaction.
Yeah, because you can flick.
It is Isolate. Isolate CNC flick in reactions, I think, might be what does the game here. You cannot react because there's no D-react in Arsenal.
Yep.
And during reactions, flick a knife. Take 1, and then unless Guy has a sigil here, he does.
Oh, he has the sigil. Stays alive.
So effectively stays at 3, so it goes down 1. Yep. And Tom did lose a knife, so showing the minor differences between their decks, Guy being on 1 more sigil than Tom, and happening to see both of them has been great this game.
Yeah.
And then Guy coming back with a dagger and then 1 card left. If it's a codex, could try to get some value back here.
Yep.
It looks like Tom also drew a sigil. I think one of the cards in his hand is sigil as well.
I'm saying I don't need 2 sigils. I just need the 1.
Yeah, and I'll always see it. So yeah, gonna take the dagger, makes sense. Importantly too, Guy lost the ability to flick.
Yeah, not having the ability to flick makes it so much harder to kind of close the game out.
Right. Those last couple of points of damage can be hard to get through. That's, like brutes, they need that reckless swing sometimes just to get those last couple of points of damage.
Yep.
So we see this is actually a rabble for 4. It revealed an E-strike off the top. I don't believe the go again is going to matter though.
Yeah, no cards in hand. Kind of face up.
All right, so we are going to see a block for 3. Tom will take 1, go down to 9. But Tom gets to keep another 4-card hand. So we have 3 in hand, 1 in arsenal, and we have Tunic up. So we see another CNC. Does his hand isolate Sigil CNC?
I think it's I think it's a blue, so it'll be like dagger. Oh no, it's a codex. Interesting. So we might just be. Oh, he has.
We do have the swap. Okay. And then arsenaling the Sigil is really strong, especially if Guy does try to do another CNC play. So Fate early makes sense. This will come in for 2 over, but Tom can flick the knife again, and I don't think Guy has another Sigil available to them.
Did he block the dagger?
Oh, he did not. So the first one blocks for 3, the second one blocks for 4 here. So it's 7, right?
Yep.
Both are 3?
No,
I think it's just the next time.
The next time.
So yeah, that was a block for 7 on a 6.
Yeah, just correcting the life because Guy did take the
one from the dagger. Yep. So E-strike, I don't think this is going to do enough. However, this is draw card. Interesting. But yeah, even if this was for 7, Tom can go to 1 and not be scared to flick knives.
What we swapped in with Uzuri, it should be on bottom.
The judge is correcting, saying that the stealth attack that was used to swap shouldn't have gone to the graveyard.
Yeah, Uzuri does say you put the stealth card to the bottom of the deck and then play the banished card. So fixing that, I think they have to fix the pitch stack too.
Yeah, because the stealth attack goes on the bottom before the pitch.
Yep, so that is fixed now. Thank you to our judges, and looks like Tom is just blocking for 3, might take 2 here, which I think he's fine with.
Yeah, and Guy is kind of locked out currently, unless...
Oh, it's a leave no.
Leave no witnesses is actually pretty big. You can block with the Crown of Providence if you would like.
I think... Oh, we know it's a Sigil, so quite good here to where Tom maybe doesn't even need to take it. Yep. So just nets.
Does give Guy a silver token.
That is true. So Guy has money. Maybe he can pay Tom that silver to take the game.
That I believe is not allowed in the current Flesh and Blood tournament procedures.
You cannot pay your opponent gold and silver tokens. And that is game.
Yeah, shredding your block.
Taking the win. So we are going to see our finals as Uzuri, of course, but Tom on Uzuri versus our Kano player. So we have an exciting, potentially quick finals match.
Yeah, I have a prediction that the game will not last past turn 2. You never know. Honestly, we joke about how it looks pretty good for Kano, but Kano's one of those decks that you've been having a hot run, and then suddenly the deck can go cold. Where if you draw the wrong combination of cards, if you draw 3 reds in a hand, or you draw 4 blues and you just Kano off the top, and then it's all blues.
Yep.
It's not impossible.
It can be a bad time. There's certainly some variants. You can Kano and hit Eye of Ophidia off the top, and that's also a bad time.
Yeah, I think Julian's deck is set up better to kind of deal with the variance aspect of it. Having all the Aether Spindles lets you control the variance of the match a little bit better.
Right.
So I think that Julian does have that on his side. But, we are playing a card game, and, when you're playing a card game, sometimes that's the most unlikely outcomes happen.
Yeah. There's always going to be variance when playing a game, when playing card games. So we could see a surprising finals. That would be great to see a game that went longer than 3 minutes and 2 turns. So we'll see what happens. But AB0 against Kano. Kano can just do so much explosive damage, especially when all Arcane is going through.
Yeah, If you want a quick story, by the way, The closest match Julian had all day, apparently, was when he played against Tom. It was Kano at 3 life with basically have lethal or die. And Julian apparently almost lost. Like, he just went for it and got a little lucky.
Yeah.
So, apparently, I mean, crazy things have happened. We're getting that rematch. Tom versus...
That's awesome.
Oh, Tom has a question. I'm a mute.
So, I also have a funny story. So, back when I was first learning the game with Michael Fang, and we were playing during the Monarch meta, so Chain was by far the best deck.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, we were first learning how to play Kano for the first time. I was moving past the how do I do more than 7 damage on a turn, you know, phase of the Kano learning experience. Once I had learned some of the combos, I was like, oh, dude, I can kill even Chain. You know, Chain is thought of as, you know, the fastest aggro deck if the Chain plays AB0. But if the Chain played AB1, couldn't do anything.
Couldn't win.
But I say that story because, you know, Uzuri, not Chain. Also, AB0.
Also AB0, yeah. So I think any version of Kano, if you're playing against AB0, you have a really good time.
Yeah.
So I think we're probably going to see the finals game get set up right now. Congratulations to both of our finalists. Both of them, again, are going to go home with a PTI, which allows them access into Pro Tour and Worlds.
Yeah. Any tier 4 level organized play event. So I believe that includes if you want to use it for an invite to your country's nationals, if you want to use it for a Pro Tour, or if you want to use it for Worlds. And there's going to be 2 Pro Tours next year. The next one's going to be in LA, and then the one after that. Did they announce the location? I forget.
Ethan, do you know that they announced the second Pro Tour location for next year?
Yeah, it's Amsterdam.
Yeah, so
LA and Amsterdam.
You know, one in LA, one in Amsterdam. So, you know, if either of the finalists decide, hey, I wanna take a trip, now they have the invite.
Yeah, do some European traveling.
Yeah.
Yeah, congrats to the Battle Hardened players. Also, thank you to everyone who traveled out here, of course. It was great to see so many faces from around the country.
Yeah, and we're about getting ready to set up the finals match. But while we're setting up, let's do another sponsor break just to support the people who are supporting the stream.
You know, another thing, look, I am crouched up. The other thing you can do, by the way, to support the stream, you lovely people in the chat. By the way, I'm hoping we can crack 1,000 again. We did on the last stream, but you always lose around like 200 views or so when you restart a stream. And we're about at 800. But come on, it's a finals match. Uzuri versus Kano. Like, come on, let's hit 1,000. Share the stream, folks. The other thing you can do if you want to help us out here, because turns out we will have time to go get dinner, which is crazy. It's not going to be a 2 a.m. finish. It's going to be like a, 9:59? It's going to be a 10:01 finish. The other thing you can do to support the stream is become a channel member. That was recently unlocked for the stream. You should see like a join. And then for $5, you can get loyalty badges, you can get emotes, all that good stuff, which goes directly into helping this stream, flying out, hiring casters, making sure the casters are treated nice as well. I want to take them out to they did a great job. We're going out to a nice dinner tonight. They deserve it. So there you go. That is an option now. For $5, you can become a channel member. There's also the lovely sponsors, so I want to shout out one more time before we run the ad reel. Fresh and Buds, Min-Max, and Team Ascent. We've got Hemel Patel from Hammurabi TCG. We've got Green Tree Sports Cards. We've got Fab Foundry, Green Rush Branding, a local player, actually, who was in the event today. That's his company. And last night at dinner, he's like, yo, let me be a sponsor. So there we go. And then the lovely Haven Games / Haven Tabletop. I'm not sure the official name. What is it? The Haven Games? The Haven Games Tabletop. It's all in one out here for hosting this event. They actually pulled it off. We had doubts on how 110 people would fit in here. The temperature has been great. It doesn't smell. It's actually like a great event. So well done. They did an awesome job. And then not a sponsor, but something I definitely want to plug for tomorrow is the Coaxing. The Coaxing is going to be an all-star event tomorrow, purely casual, purely for fun. It's going to be all day LL games, games to, I think, play like directly in chat. There's some kind of interaction going on with some integration with Fabble, which is pretty cool. And then a lot of drinking to be had as well. So decks and drafts on YouTube. Joey Senart is going to pull that off. So that's the stream tomorrow. We're not streaming tomorrow. They're streaming tomorrow. With that, we're going to run the ad reel and then be right into the game with the TriCast. Brody will jump in, but as the third wheel. Yanji has the lead. Nick's got his back, and then Brody's like back there. But he's there. He's there. We'll be right back, folks.
Hey yo, Don Amurabi. You want me to tell him about the bazaar, or do you want me to use the clamps, huh?
Relax, Captain. These are our customers, and we are their merchants.
It's okay, I'll handle it. You, I know your problems, and I got the goods to fix them. You watched an OP deck tech and need to buy the spice.
Buy from the bazaar.
You are deep into theory crafting the next hottest deck.
Buy it from the bazaar.
You are changing your Pro Tour deck list last minute.
Buy from the bazaar.
You follow the meta and need to change decks.
Buy from the bazaar.
You have an addiction to box breaks.
Buy from the bazaar.
You find yourself dealing fab to new customers.
Yes, catch me outside and I'll hook you up.
And you, don't forget, get your cards from me, Hammurabi TCG.
Or else you get the clamps.
Go to ascent-gaming.com for all your Flesh and Blood merchandise needs. Use code SAVAGE to get 5% off your entire purchase.
Do you know what the hardest part about being a brute is? No, it's not rolling a 1, because that never happens. It's not discarding your Blood Rush to Pulping or Wild Ride. It's actually having to buy hundreds and hundreds of Reckless Swings for your opponents to sign as you kill them with it and put them in the ground. That's why I go to fabfoundry.co. With incredibly competitive pricing and extremely fast shipping methods, fabfoundry.co is the only place I need for an unlimited supply of Reckless Swings. Visit fabfoundry.co to support one of the OGs of the Flesh and Blood community and to get your product delivered on time, safely, so you can go crush your foes.
Crazy.
Then on the next turn, she attacks with, then on the Kano on his turn goes Aether Spindle yellow.
I think we're live.
Back,
Oh, we're
everyone.
live. Okay.
Welcome back for the finals of Battle Hardened Orlando. We have our 2 deck lists here for the finalists. We have our Uzuri, so Tom on Uzuri, and then of course we have our Kano player in Julian. This Kano, notably, like we mentioned before, is on AB0.
Yeah, Benny's playing Rainbow Aether Spindles. So Rainbow Aether Spindles, very good into AB0.
Really good into AB0. You know you're going to opt 4, 5, or 3. So all of which are really strong on your turn and your opponent's turn. So
You just see so many more cards, I think, than normal, or not normal,
Then
the popular Kano builds.
yeah, one thing that can be a detriment to Kano is when you are seeing these blue cards that you keep banishing off of Kano when you're blind doing it. So a card like Spindle letting you actually get what you want off of Kano banish is so strong.
Absolutely. Have you guys already talked about this one Chains of Eminence? That's a cool inclusion.
Yeah, I think probably the Chains of Eminence you do when you need to like pitch stack into somebody who's playing like mono, like stuff like Steadfast or Oasis Respite.
Yeah.
You just like name like Oasis Respite the turn before you combo off.
That makes sense to me.
We haven't seen it yet. I don't know if he's actually boarded it in as a one of, but
Yeah,
I think it's a
I
really
don't
cool
think
card.
you would play Chains of Eminence into the AP0 matchups. I gotta be honest.
You just
I agree. I do not think it'll be coming in versus this Uzuri.
Yeah.
You just call Exodia and then just pass it over and call nothing just to do the emotional damage, the mental and emotional damage.
Your matchup's so good that you're just flexing on them with your chains.
Yeah. One thing that I did want to talk about for the Kano's deck construction is that this Kano build is only on 34 blues. So usually like the more blues that you have, the easier it is for you to just like pure combo off.
Yep.
Playing fewer blues does make it so that it is a little bit more likely that you can draw into these hands that are a little bit awkward to play.
Yep.
In which case you need to be blocking one or two cards and like playing like one card activating Crucible and playing Aether Spindle.
Yeah, and I think having those bad hands and giving more time to Uzuri can be detrimental to Kano. But we actually are going to head into our finals match here. The players are ready to go.
Yeah, don't blink. You might just miss the game.
Yeah, so be careful. Do not step away from where you're watching this.
Yeah,
for
if
a
you have
minute.
to pee, just hold it in. It'll probably be over.
Yeah, you'll have plenty of time to watch the game and then go pee in 3 minutes.
Yeah, but in actual, if you really have to go, just go. Or the stream will be here for you on video on demand.
Yeah.
At the very least, you'll make it back for the winner's interview. Julian here is undefeated on the day. Absolute terror on Kano. I'm really excited to see this guy in the finals. He's a really experienced Kano player, and it's cool to see him getting the time on stream, getting the attention, playing this hero that he's been working on so much.
Yeah, it's impressive too. I heard him talking earlier, and he said that he hasn't lost a game on Kano in like weeks.
Weeks?
Weeks. Like he's played multiple games over the last few weeks and has not dropped a game.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So, I mean, today also going undefeated is quite impressive.
Yeah, why start now?
Yeah, don't lose now.
Big red.
Yeah, I told him if he loses against AB0 in the finals, he needs to not play the deck. Like,
yeah.
So our first and second seed have made it all the way to the finals here. Julian, being undefeated, will get to choose whether he wants to go first or second. It looks like he has chosen to take the play, leading off with the Kano activation here, pitching blue Aether Flare and finding mystery card on the top.
do you think he went first, or do you think Tom passed?
That's a good question. I think that...
No. I think he went first.
You think he went first?
There's no counter on Tom's Tunic.
Oh, you're right. Yep. Yeah, interesting that he chose to go second in our last matchup against Dromai, but first now. What do you think the difference would be to choose first now?
I think that because there are no Arcane Barrier pieces on Tom's side, and Julian knows that going in, it makes more sense to go first because you just basically...
Mara also had no Arcane Barrier.
Yeah.
Oh.
She had Seekers, that's it.
Dromai is really interesting. On the first turn, they can make Ash, make dragons, and that is interesting, though, that Mara also has no Arcane Barrier, and then he flips it up, what he chooses. What do you guys think that is?
I honestly don't know. I'm a big fan of going second.
Yeah, let's give him a handy. Let's give a handicap.
I don't think the Arcane Lantern is honestly going to be that helpful.
Yeah, I think that'll be a good question to ask Julian afterwards. Is like, why in seemingly a very similar situation?
Oh, maybe we're going to
think
interview
we can
Tom.
get there?
Maybe we're going to interview Tom. Like, you don't know.
Oh, right.
No, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, you're right.
I think that the fact that Julian isn't going off, like his hand must be like a little bit awkward. I think he's weighing between playing the Potion of Deja Vu kind of as like a combo piece versus, just doing as much damage as he can.
Yeah, we saw against Mara actually, Potion of Deja Vu did work. Was able to stack a Tome of Fyendel, a Gaze the Ages. Looks like he currently has a Gaze in hand as well.
Yep.
So this is just going to come in for 2.
Choosing not to Crucible this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but if he has the Gaze the Ages, then you can just play the Gaze.
Yeah, so you can use your action point on Gaze, get it back to hand, which it looks like is what's going to happen here.
Sounds good.
And then you have 2 blues in hand again, and then you can hopefully get a better hit off Kano here.
Yeah, saving the 1 resource in case he finds a 1 cost, or if he finds a 0 cost, he can just cash in the Crucible.
Yeah,
then.
honestly, we're kind of memeing about how good the matchup is for Kano, but this is one of the ways that I think Uzuri could potentially win, where Uzuri gets to go second, and then Kano isn't really able to put together a great punish for having AB0, like just doing 4 damage.
Yeah,
I think it's not that big of a deal, right?
Yeah.
Like, do you even arsenal the potion? I guess so.
Yeah, interesting.
Tom says, "Send me the bill." Send me the bill.
Thankfully, the bill was from Taco Bell, and it was
Yeah.
$4. So, we do see Kano drawing up, arsenaling a potion of deja vu, and we are back to Tom now, or
Yeah.
over to Tom now.
I think that is the Eye of Ophidia in Julian's hand, so it's nice to know that he's not going to hit that off the top.
Yeah, he has the Eye of Ophidia. He also has a Tome of Aetherwind.
Yeah, we could definitely see a strong turn where you use your action point on the tome, and then you just Kano with the eye.
This is not what Tom wants to see on the Uzuri side. It looks like all reds just raw sending a shakedown for 6.
Yeah, one nice thing about Arcane Barrier when you're actually utilizing it, when you have it, is you can actually get rid of cards you don't want. Tom had no opportunity to do so.
Yeah. Kind of interesting that Tom chose to do this play. Like, do you think he's repping Shred?
I think he might.
Because like if you weren't repping Shred, like surely you just like send the what's it called? You just send the Ravenous Rabble. This is more damage.
I think he might be actually trying to flick knives, knowing this game isn't going to go that long, which does turn on the shakedown.
Yeah, but like what is that last card then? Like usually attacking with Ravenous Rabble, so plus.
Yeah, I agree. It must be a card that he values holding on to. So we're actually just going to eye right now into a Kano. So we're going to resolve eye first, of course.
I feel like any stealth.
Oh, and the Aether Wildfire is there. It is on the top.
Wildfire, and what's that other card?
So this is Wildfire. Is this Blue Sin?
No. The Wildfire is in his off. It's on the top of his deck.
Oh, he just hit Wildfire off the opts?
Yeah.
I think his hand is blue plus Tome of Aetherwind plus some yellow, maybe a Tome of Fandle.
What is the middle card?
Some wizard blue, I'm not sure.
That might be Blue Singe, which you just keep in because it's a blue.
Yeah.
But if he just hit Wildfire, this game might be over pretty soon.
So it's not deterministic because his hand isn't set up in a way where he can that many times. He is not ragamuffins.
Sure.
For like he's not ragamuffinsing for a damage. He's gonna be ragamuffinsing for probably the
resource card.
Yeah, for the resource card.
So Gaze is really strong here.
Yep.
Getting a resource card and opting to. So you get to play the Wildfire here, and then.
Yeah, I wonder if Julian is going to choose to play the Gaze the Ages first, or the Aether Wildfire. Gaze the Ages at post Aether Wildfire is pretty nice. Julian does have a bunch of more expensive blues that he's playing, and you really want to just be hitting like your 0 costs.
Right. So the fact that we've already seen opt multiple times from this Kano in one turn is quite impressive. We've seen double Gaze at this point, or we'll see it, and then also eye. So the draws have been again in Julian's favor, it seems. We have 4 resources available to us right now. If the Gaze bounces back to hand, we'll have 7 resources, including the Wildfire
Yeah,
card.
actually, he needs to play the Gaze to get a blue so that he can. Oh no, I guess he doesn't.
So what is that second card? I saw an Aether Dart, which I assume is blue. And then a Lesson in Lava, which is super strong because that could get you the blazing you need.
Yeah, Lesson in Lava is very good, but ideally he has Lesson in Lava and a blue so that you can just use the Gaze to Kano for the Lesson in Lava, use Ragamuffins to get the tome on top of your deck,
right?
And then just play the tome and try to get that is the combo, like going what's it called, Wildfire, Lesson in Lava. And so if he draws, I think another blue or 2 blues off of the tome.
Off the tome, yep.
That might be the GGs.
So we're gonna pitch for Kano. I think we should hold priority and do the Ragamuffins, but we did not.
No, you don't have to hold priority.
No, okay, you're
right. He knows the top of his deck. If the top of his deck is a blue, he just like puts the tome on top.
So now we know the tome is on top. We can now choose to Kano again, draw 2 cards.
This takes me back to earlier this year in July, I think, Battle Hardened Cincinnati when we had Iyslander.
I think it's 2 blues.
Great draws. I think that's 2 blues, the blue Voltic and a E-Pot.
Very nice.
And so he basically is choosing now if he wants a Metacarpus, and I believe that you would want to Metacarpus because, just max damage. Then we're going to get a Wildfire in for, I think, 5 because he hasn't used the what's it called? The
Crucible.
The Crucible. So you Metacarpus, it's 5, then you use Metacarpus again on the Lesson in Lava. So then the Lesson in Lava is gonna come in for 9.
And then you grab the blazing.
5, 9, you did 14. 14 plus 5, 19.
19 and 14 is 33.
33. So actually, Uzuri will live at 3.
Correct. And then Kano will take 6 and then has to do 3 more damage through.
Yeah, really. If a little bit unlucky, if he had used Crucible of Aetherweave on the
wildfire,
then this would be game because I think it's 36.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Are we counting the?
Oh no, we didn't count the wildfire hadn't resolved yet. So now that damage has resolved.
Firing off
Aether Flare.
Oh, we boosted for a Aether Flare. Some
No effects.
From Arsenal.
Oh no, wait.
I think it was never a potion in hand.
Oh.
Lessons coming in for 11.
All right, well, it's over.
Yeah, I mean,
It's over, ladies and gentlemen.
So many things are happening, but it's just so much. It's so much damage. This is 14 damage. It's gonna stack a blazing.
Mom can't help but just smile.
So sad when you can see your life leaving, and you can do nothing about it. He just throws the blazing.
How
down.
high can we get the number?
So this blazing would be 14 plus 25 plus 5, 30 damage.
You could still miss it.
I don't know. I guess it looked like a potion, but instead.
Oh yeah, it did. You're right.
And that is the battle hardened, folks. Julian Sniffin takes
Turn
it all down
one.
on Kano. That is
Again.
turn 1.
Quickest battle hardened win ever.
Wow.
Okay, D-React.
That's probably one of the fastest stream games ever played.
Julian's my kind of player. Like I'm also a big fan. Just end the game.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna win. Somebody's gonna lose.
Our finals round lasted approximately 5 minutes. So we can go. We thought we were going to get out of here at 1 a.m. It is 10:15. So what a great, efficient finals. And I hope you all enjoyed watching Kano do some Kano things.
We said it would be 2 minutes. It was actually like 6.
Yeah. We have to think about the lines, I guess.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting me try-cast that long, complicated slog, guys.
Really glad to have you here.
Brody, what did you think of the match?
There was a lot of decision points from both players in that game. Very interesting. I mean, legitimately, it is interesting to think, like, from the Uzuri side, could the player have respected Kano more with their sideboard? I think it's rough.
I think the only card that you can really run is Oasis Respite.
Yeah, which I do think changes it a little bit, but I think even then, if the Kano knows that you're sitting on an Oasis, they can start to play differently and likely still beat you anyway. Like, I think Julian mentioned that in Swiss he played against an Uzuri who was sitting on a Respite in Arsenal all game. That means they can't play any codexes. They just overall present a lot less damage.
Yeah.
And then at that point, maybe the Kano just pitch stacks.
Right.
I don't think you even need to pitch stack. You're just like doing damage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once you get them low enough, it like doesn't matter.
Because at some point they're probably going to be baited into using the Oasis Respite, and then you can just combo them.
Yeah, like you can go like Aether Flare on your turn, then they're like, okay, Oasis
I have to use
Respite,
my Oasis now, yeah.
Sure. On your turn.
Yeah, I think I don't know what way there is to.
Yeah, we have Julian in for an interview.
I can let him sit here.
Oh yeah.
Congrats, man.
Thanks.
Congratulations, Julian. What a grueling, long fought game.
Yeah, that was hard. I didn't know if I had it.
Yeah, we when you tomed or not tomed, when you Eye of Ophidian into the wildfire, we thought that you had like a potion in your arsenal. I think you pitched it actually on turn 0.
Yeah.
But did you kind of know? Because it's really dependent on what you're drawing from the Tome Aetherwind, right?
Mm-hmm.
How did you like feel during like going through the combo before you know what's gonna happen? You just saw the wildfire.
Yeah, turn 0 was pretty rough because I saw no good reds. It was all blues. But I had a red Aether Flare, which you can combo with if they're on no AB, because if you go like flare, anything, or wildfire, flare, anything, like the first one's worth 4 damage, so you can still kill him.
Mm-hmm.
So I figured I could arsenal that, and then if I see like a flare or a wildfire, I can probably kill him. So when I saw the wildfire, I felt like I had it, especially since with Tome, I always have the line of like buffing if I have enough resources, which is like super lethal. But then when I saw the less, yeah, it just kind of played itself.
Yeah.
And then the rags, getting a blue off the rags was also like super nice.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about one of your deck decisions, which was choosing to play Rainbow Aether Spindle. And I think choosing to play Aether Spindle, it was funny, we were talking about one of the other top 8 competitors, Julian, Justin.
Yeah.
And Justin, I think, was like the first person that I ever saw talk about playing Yellow Aether Spindle a long, long time ago. and I just wanted to see like how you came to the decision to submit those in your deck list today.
I think they're really bad. My teammate Tog from We Make Best,
Yeah.
he's like obsessed with them,
Yeah.
and so is John, another one of my teammates that I travel a lot with. And so last night I was like, I haven't been playing Kano at all. I've only been playing Dash.io. So I was like, I need a list, and they gave me this list with 34 blues, 2 yellow spindles. The theory is you can combo off of spindle because you just wildfire into spindle, and you're gonna opt like 20 and see a blazing aether. So it's not bad, and like low AB metas, yellow spindle still opts you a lot. So it's reasonable, and it felt pretty good, but it's not a card I would run.
Oh, really?
I mean, maybe now. I guess I won with it, so I guess I have to, right?
I think when they're presenting AB0 or AB1, it gives you a lot more consistency. Otherwise, you're kind of like still hitting off the top. When if you're playing like because a lot of the other lists are kind of more similar to I think what Arsenal Pass ran in like PT1, where you play like 38 blues.
Yeah.
And you have like I guess more like consistency in having enough blues to combo off.
Right.
But actually like finding the cards is a little bit tougher.
Yeah, for sure. I think with like Lexi in the meta, we had to play much more aggressive and just blind flip. So we started running a lot of 2-cost blues that can do damage, and we went down on blues actually. But I think now post Lexi with like no AB, yellow spindle is like a little bit more reasonable for sure. Uzuri is actually pretty scary even on AB0 because if they have Oasis and they just sit on it, you still get hosed. So typically, like I played both of them. Well, both of the Uzuris before, and I was trying to stack them, but they just, like, I couldn't get to second cycle because they were just presenting so much damage. They weren't sitting on Oasis and Arsenal, but I did play one Uzuri who just sat on Oasis, and then you can get to second cycle and kill them that way. So that's how I prefer to play the matchup, but since I see the deck list with no Oasis, no AB, it's like, okay, I'll just kill you turn 1.
Speaking of seeing the deck list with no AB, we were going to ask you, in the semifinals, you saw Mara had no AB, and you chose to go second against her, but in this game, you chose to go first. Walk us through that.
Yeah, it's just... Oh, thank you. It's just because she can pitch to get Ash versus Uzuri can't do anything. He can't even filter. So it's literally just he watches you kill him, and then you kill him. And also, like, if you go first, you present a bunch of damage. Their first turn, you present a bunch of damage. They can't kill you. Then you present a bunch of damage on the third turn. Like, you have 3 turns to find combo, which is pretty hard not to find. But with Dromai, they have a lot of hosers. Like, they can find a Thamai, and that can hose you. So, yeah, you want to limit that counterplay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
We were actually kind of concerned when we were commentating your game in Tamara.
Yeah.
It's like if she keeps chaining like snatch effects on turn 0,
Yeah.
that might have been a little bit scary.
Yeah, that was actually really scary because I have to kill right there because she can draw, find sand cover, there's a whole bunch of things. She can find a Kyloria. So there's a very real chance I lose that game. Also, I blinded up Wildfire and a Blazing Aether off the top, which is pretty nuts.
Why not?
Yeah, I guess
that's why they're in the
all
deck.
You need to do to play Kano. Yeah,
that's why you're here.
Yep.
As the winner of the Battle Hardened.
Yeah.
Are we ripping this thing open?
Yeah, I'm just gonna rip it. Should I do it like on a camera or something?
Yeah, hold it up to the camera.
All right.
I think when you open it, it's gonna be the back is facing you, so you kind of have to like spoil yourself.
Sure. Okay, so I flip it this way, right? And then I'll see it, and nobody else will.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh
my God, this card sucks.
No one else can see it yet.
Dude, I hate this card.
Woo!
This card single-handedly made Runeblades unplayable. I'm selling this for sure. Anybody want it? $3.
$3.
Sold.
But in all seriousness, congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
What a great showing.
Before we sign off, Julian, just talk to everyone a little bit about your history with Kano and what this win means to you.
Yeah, for sure. I've been playing Kano for a year. Saw Alexander Vor's PT1 games. My team's a bunch of Kano players, so we just test with each other. And I've bubbled a lot of events, but this is my first top 8, so it feels great to like finally make it all the way.
Just bink it. Just bink the first top 8.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, it feels great. Probably no Kano after this because Prism's going to be good apparently, so I'll go back to Dash.io.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
Great job.
All right, we're going to cut to Ethan to close the stream out.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, hey everyone. All right, that is a wrap for the last Savage Feats stream of 2023. Let's go. That was exciting. Even if you wanted long games throughout the night, This is still quite a story, people. Wrapping up 2023 with a Kano, it's actually fantastic how the metagame shifts and people respond and disrespect things. We just saw Brody win with Azalea. And so what does that do? It makes people want to play like Warmonger. So if you weren't running Warmongers, maybe that's like making its way in your deck list. You also saw Kano like make top 8, but there were so many dash. So dash isn't... So, like, that's maybe gatekeeping Kano a bit. So you see people, like, wanting to run more Warmongers, you would think, like with Bravo being the most represented deck, right? But with Bravo being most represented, Kano has so many easy targets, and then they're also catching people in the crossfire because they're just not running AB. So you get this cycle of, like, responding and disrespecting whatever, and now we see a Kano go 10-0 and win the entire event. So cool. So cool. 10-0. 10-0. Will it happen again? You never know. It's a cyclical meta, right? But with that, that is a wrap for the last event of at least my streaming schedule. The Coaxing is tomorrow. Battle Art in Hanover. I don't know if there's a stream or what, but that's next weekend. And then 2024 will jumpstart with some amazing streams. I'm bringing you 5 days of coverage live from New Zealand. Live from New Zealand in about a month's-ish time. 5 back-to-back streams from New Zealand. So tune in for that. We're going to go get dinner. I'm pretty excited. I didn't think I was going to eat tonight. But there we go. Thank you so much for tuning in. This was so much fun. Like, what a year. What a year. So thank you all so much. Thank you, like, all the sponsors, the casters, the entire community, like, rallying together and, like, just supporting coverage has been incredible this year. So, you know, truly, truly, thank you. We're not streaming tomorrow, just to reiterate. Go check out the Coaxing, though. The Coaxing is happening tomorrow at Decks and Drafts. We're signing off. We're signing off. I'll see ya. Congrats to Julian. Thank you, casters. Thank you. Peace. Wrong mouse.